We're live.
Hey.
I think they might even heard that you could see my search results. Why are you peeking on my search results?
I'm looking through your phone as we speak. No.
Bobo is here. Archival Raccoon is here. Our Scientist is here. Splish is here. Kindly DiCaprio is here. She's here earlier than normal, I think. What's up, you guys? How about them Seattle Seahawks, huh? Super Bowl champions. Did I not call this?
You called it. Yeah.
I said it straight up. I said
you got your finger on the pulse.
I said that that kid was too green for this big of a stage. I also think they had the weakest schedule in all of football. And so I think that the next year we're going to kind of see who the Patriots really are, because they are going to have a more difficult schedule as a Super Bowl.
I have a Super Bowl question.
Yeah.
You said that you thought that the New England Patriots quarterback was too green?
Yeah, a little too young.
Did that show in the Super Bowl, or was the defense of the other team better?
Yeah, I mean, they both showed. I mean, Seattle's defense was an insanely good defense. I think that a more experienced quarterback would have probably
figured it out.
Well, would have probably made it more competitive, certainly. It's a great defense. Not going to take anything away from the Seattle Seahawks. I'm glad they won. I would have put my money on it if I was a betting man. I'm not a betting man, and I don't think anyone should be betting men. But, for the purposes of describing it, I would say that I knocked it out of the park. I said that it was going to be dominated by them. And while it was a slow first half, it eventually, the eventuality happened. And
I like how you used a baseball metaphor to talk about football.
What did I say?
You said knocked it out of the park.
Knocked it out of the park,
Like they do in football.
Slam dunk, you know what I'm saying?
Slam dunk, yeah.
And so, but it's really all about the halftime shows, right?
I am so stunned by
Before we get into it, let's just hit these because Erica's here. Say hello, say her hellos. I cut you off, and that sucked. I just realized that maybe I should wait. Kindly DiCaprio, I don't want to leave these questions wait. She asks, do I have any advice for coming up with characters for things? Like, I want to create worlds in which characters are not hollow, but it's hard. Coming up with characters for things. Well, that's interesting. So you have a thing in mind before you have a character in mind? I suppose that could create some kind of, So one of the things that you should do immediately if you have a thing in mind before a character is you should identify what that thing is as thoroughly as possible, and you should try to match that to an archetype. So go find an archetype. So if you find that you're the thing, for example, if the thing is stealing, or if the thing is being exquisite at math, or if the thing is public speaking, then you might want to look at Mercury and the archetypes that best represent Mercury, for example, as a means to start building your character.
Or I would suggest, what's so wrong about Hollow? Everybody who opens a book starts with a character they don't know.
I can tell you what's wrong about Hollow.
But you get to know them as you progress, so why wouldn't the writer be able to do that?
That's not Hollow. That's the Hollow she's referring to is when you have, if you have a bunch of characters, if you have all these functions, for example, if you need somebody, so if you have these things going on, these moments in your story, and you need you need characters to fulfill.
I guess I'm confusing Hollow with Shallow, because I feel like there's nothing wrong with a shallow character. A character that doesn't.
If all your characters are
right
shallow.
Out the gate, you don't know about the depth of a character, any character. You learn as you experience them.
That's not what she's talking about. She's talking about not having that. You're talking about a fully fledged out character that begins with the sort of.
What I'm saying, to clarify, is that I don't know that the writer has to start out knowing every single thing about the depth of their character before they begin. I feel like you can find that as you see this little character being challenged by the little situations that you put it in. And you can decide in the moment, this is how I want my character to act. And so now that's a part of the character's characteristics.
Yeah, I mean, to each their own. That wouldn't be the way I go about it, but that's certainly, I suppose, a way someone could go about it.
I have known a bunch of screenwriter friends. I'm not myself a screenwriter, but I have a bunch of writer friends who will spend so much of their creative energy creating these little character Bibles and stuff. And what they do is they labor over this, and they feel it's like a form of like active procrastination, where they don't actually progress with the story they're trying to write because they're so fixated on creating a character in this one way that doesn't actually help them create pages, you know? And so I just feel like it's a trap that people get put into when they decide that they can't progress with storytelling until they know everything about a character that they're working with, you know? Like just begin. You know?
I mean, that may not be her problem. Her problem seems to be whether or not she has any faith in the depth or richness of her characters. And, you know, again, you can, if you have a thing first, then you can try to match the thing to an archetype, and that might help direct you into a character type. And once you have a more familiarity with the character type that you're looking at, then you can start layering on the personality types that you've maybe experienced in your past. And that would be the very next thing I would go to, if not the first thing, if you want to just skip the archetypal step and just start going, well, is this an uncle? Is this an aunt? Is this an uncle's friend? Is this a cousin? Is this that person at school? Is this that person's school's sibling or parent? And so on and so forth. And looking through and sifting through the experiences, you only need a slice. You know, it's kind of like, it's like sourdough bread or like plants. Or you don't need the whole understanding of a particular character to allow the character to flourish if you have the genesis of the character to begin with. And so, and I think shallow or hollow can come from not having the genesis of the character in your mind. And if you're reverse engineering that, then, you know, I've given you the recipe for that I would probably explore that recipe. You know, I'm so good at the archetypes now that I kind of usually just jump right into the layers, finding the people that I've encountered in life, sifting through them to find out which of them belong to this particular problem in my story. You know, I like using the things I know best, the people I know best. You know, and then I can obviously like a musician, you know, plays with arrangements. I can arrange that character, you know, to something more to my liking once I have the basis. Like if it's my cousin Kenny, you know, it's my cousin Kenny. That's the fucking the sort of the mold, and then I start now adding to that in terms of the kinds of like things that'll help them fit in with the other characters or make sense as a sibling or a boss or whatever. Anyway, probably gone on a little long about that, but I hope that's helpful. To you, to the Super Bowl.
Oh.
To the Super Bowl.
Oh, now
halftime.
you want to talk about the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Now you want to talk about the Super Bowl that we started with.
I helped somebody, and then, I want to talk about the Super Bowl now.
That's rich. You come crawling back to talk about the Super Bowl.
Delicate is here. Hanada is here. Bobo is here.
Oh, you don't want to talk about the Super Bowl anymore.
Say Bobo?
That was fast and fleeting.
I'm just trying to help a person out, bro. She asked the question.
Do you or do you not want to talk about the Super Bowl?
I'm here for it, man. So, look, I knew as I watched the halftime show that there was some, Puerto Rican stuff going on. You know what I mean? Obviously, the fields and the sugarcane. And I was like, okay, I didn't understand the depth of that. And I'll get to that in a second. So I was seeing things and understanding them. Like I was taking them in visually. Obviously, I don't speak Spanish, so that part of it was lost. And so I was just feeling everything around me and feeling everything. And I got the feel for what it ultimately became, which was realized the day after when people broke it down and translated not his lyrics, his imagery.
Yeah.
And so as they translated the imagery for us, and I was like, oh no shit, and holy fuck, and that was a real couple getting married and all that kind of stuff. Then the depth and the breadth of what he was trying to accomplish and did accomplish became more and more clear. And so for those who were able to follow at the deepest levels, understanding the language, understanding the heritage, like for Puerto Ricans, that must have been an absolutely surreal moment for them. Like that must have been practically out of body, especially when you have, somebody like Ricky Martin saying, don't let happen to us what happened to Hawaii, ostensibly, right? I guess, which is his own lyrics.
When you come from a colonized place, there's a sort of like there's a doom aspect to it where you're like, oh, are we going to go the way that all the other colonized places did?
And I told you, man,
that makes for a really rich history and cultural tradition that people really strive to keep alive. Like, I didn't realize that a lot of Bad Bunny's messaging has to do with its anti-gentrification.
Yeah.
Because everywhere that he's ever lived has always been dealing with gentrification, changing what's culturally rich into what's culturally, like, bland. I lived in a neighborhood that got gentrified while I lived there. And obviously, like, I probably was an early gentrifier because look at me. But, like, living in Echo Park when
wherever we live, we gentrify if it's not already done.
I didn't want to see the Hispanic businesses, the Latin businesses close down and then get replaced by, like, fucking vegan gelato and, like, vegan restaurants and whatever else. Like, I didn't want that.
No, I saw a lot of that in LA for sure.
And so, like,
I had friends move to Highland Park.
And I didn't even...
before it was really, like, before the coffee shops.
When there was chickens in the streets.
And it was awesome.
Yeah.
Roosters every morning.
I didn't even have any, like, cultural attachment to that neighborhood, and I was still super sad about it. I go back to that neighborhood now, and I don't recognize anything that was there when I lived there. So it's just got to be, like, it's like a shared trauma that happens with all of these different communities that get, like, fucked over. So I just thought that was really, really special.
Yeah. So understanding the imagery, the way it got broken down for me, it was very moving. And I thought it was just, like, so well thought out. It also was a very much like rising to the occasion, because I felt like, look, I mean, it's so idealistic to say, like, oh, love is the only weapon to hate. And, and we know that revolution is revolution is revolution is revolution is revolution. We know that it's the answer to almost always the answer, if not the only answer to, fascist or authoritative takeovers or occupations. This usually isn't, like, overcome by kumbaya, right? We can't, as much as it would be wonderful, and I believe in it as the ultimate solution. Like, I truly believe, in the message, like, hey, love defeats hate and all that other stuff, and that's really cool. But hate is so vicious that it knows how to kill love. It knows how to kill it, literally remove it, and it's not afraid to do so. So because of hate's boundaryless. How would you say that?
Boundaryless?
Boundaryless.
Boundless?
Boundless. Is it boundless?
Yeah, I think so.
I was wondering, because of their boundless, disregard for anything good and normal and safe and kind. Love is, threatened beyond, repair, So that's why love has to turn. It's like, I don't know if you ever saw 7 Years in Tibet with Brad Pitt.
I didn't.
It's pretty good, just because it, like, gives you a little bit of the insight into, like, what it's like to be a Buddhist. Like, they show up, this guy shows up, and they want to do something like build another temple or something. They have to, like, transport all the worms out of the ground that they're digging in for their safety. Mm-hmm. There's this utopian idea that can be manifest if everyone collectively wants to play the game. You know what I mean? And it's really kind of beautiful. And then it clashes with, of course, Brad Pitt showing up, and then eventually the Chinese army, or maybe it was the British army. I can't remember now.
There's like a long history of Black revolutionaries who have like tried to open everybody's eyes to the fact that, like, you can't, in order for, like, nonviolent protest or for social, what do they call it? Like, social disobedience or whatever, like peaceful protest. In order for those things to succeed, your oppressor has to have a conscience.
Yeah.
And the oppressive forces behind colonization and imperialism just simply do fucking not. So it's like, another thing that I thought was really amazing was how today, when talking about the Super Bowl halftime show and Bad Bunny's calling out of every single American nation and including the Caribbean nations all the way, and he started from, like, south and went north in his naming, like prioritizing this southern diaspora of the American continent. A lot of people were talking about how wonderful it is that he included Haiti, because a lot of people don't want to include Haiti. And one of the reasons for that is because the colonial mind, the colonizer mind, has taught us to other Haiti, because Haiti always resisted colonialism. they were the first independent. I'm going to say all this wrong because I don't know my history, but they're known for uprisings and independence before any of these other colonized nations were. And so that he's including it all, I just think is really wonderful. I learned a lot yesterday, and I just think it's so amazing that it's so funny to me how embarrassing the people that hated the halftime show are being because they either complain that it's in Spanish, which is like, I'm sorry, but that's a skill issue. Like, I'm sorry you're not cool enough to be bilingual, but that's a problem you can fix.
Well, I look at that differently, but where I kind of, because it's like, okay, well, it's like being bilingual is not easy. It's
not easy. But what I'm saying is like you're gonna complain that they didn't make it for you. Like,
but being flexible and being curious is, that's something we can universally apply to everything. But the idea that you would like look at that, like, look, you're left out of some of the conversation because you don't know the language. Sorry.
Yes, but simultaneously they want to bitch about how it was very political. Like, okay, you already just admitted that it's not for you. Like, this Super Bowl halftime show wasn't for you, and like, boo-hoo, you can cry about it. But like, it's for a massive number of other people. I looked this up today.
You got to do the Kid Rock.
Listen, I looked this up today. Apparently, Spanish is the second most people in the world are first language Spanish speakers.
Really?
484 million people. There's only more native Mandarin Chinese speakers in the world than Spanish native speakers. But
I pretty much knew that.
But Spanish is also the fourth most spoken language in the entire world, which includes total speakers, native and non-native. So that is 534 million to 560 million people globally speak Spanish. So maybe, just consider for a minute.
That's why they got Telemundo, man. What are you talking about?
That maybe this halftime show wasn't made for you. It's made for all the rest of us English speakers who like actually enjoy listening to it, But I thought it was also really, really rich.
Cosmic said he knows Spanish and he couldn't understand a word of it.
Oh yeah, well, Puerto Rican Spanish is really difficult.
Yeah.
Well, it's really especially Bad Bunny really slurs a lot.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure sounds awesome if you understand him, but it's a struggle. Anyway,
I'm sure you were catching drifts of it.
Let me just try to get this out, okay? I just think it's really interesting that people are bitching about how it's very political when politics and music is the only way that politics has ever been like obscured and like put forward to people in a hidden way. Like, if you're bitching about that, then you're just you want a head in the sand experience in life. Because politics in music and music performances is like, it's already gift wrapped with a really pretty bow. Like, you could just watch the dancing and like listen to the thumping and like enjoy the music.
Well, Donald Trump, who...
you don't have to pay attention to the politics, but that people are bitching about it, it's like, it's just pathetic to me.
Donald Trump, who's a credibly accused pedophile, I think, is it pedophilia that he would suffer from? Anyway.
Suffer from?
Yeah,
I don't know that he exactly suffers from anything.
Or
this is what he said about it. I screenshotted this fucking idiot.
But
the Super Bowl halftime show is absolutely terrible, one of the worst ever. Well, I mean, like, that's objectively wrong. Like, come on, like, it was great.
He wasn't there in '52.
He says it makes no sense. It's an affront to the greatness of America, and doesn't represent our standards of success, creativity, or excellence. He said more, but first, I just want to say, like, the greatness of America
the part where I was getting to
includes Puerto Rico.
The part where I was getting to, was that he said that the dancers.
Yes, this is the part. He said, nobody understands a word this guy is saying. Nobody, not 500 million people. And the dancing is disgusting, especially for young children that are watching from throughout the USA and all over the world.
Yeah, he's protecting the children.
He said the show is a slap in the face to our country,
he wants to protect the children. Donald Trump and Kid Rock.
Ever the child
Kid
protector.
Rock, bro. He's the guy you go to for spiritual guidance, or to be spiritually lifted. You go to Kid Rock for that.
Another day of embarrassment where this guy's still somehow inexplicably in office, and I don't understand how we're continuing to just do this. In other words, a much more important person, Jason Kelce. Do you want to hear what Jason Kelce said about it? Sure you do.
Yeah.
Jason Kelce said, "If Bad Bunny doesn't belong at the Super Bowl, maybe the folks crying about it don't belong in a country built on freedom, diversity, and rhythm. Y'all scared of reggaeton but not insurrections."
Jason said that?
Yep, Jason Kelce claps back at MAGA critics.
That put a lump in my throat, I'm always scared when you mention his name because I'm like, please don't.
Please
don't crash. Please don't die.
Don't be disappointing.
Be a hero. Let me buy your jersey one day.
Yep. And just like generally, like, how could you not love Bad Bunny? He's fucking cute and he's sweet and he's nice and he tells great stories.
Did I tell you that Delicate is here with us?
Yes.
Well, I meant it.
Welcome, everybody.
Cosmic Energy said Green Day performs the same 3 songs every performance. Snooze fest. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they get you kicking, bro. They're good, man. They're full of energy. They sounded great. He's fucking still bringing it every time. Obviously, they're just doing a little montage. They're not going to play new shit. It's Green Day.
I know.
It's Green Day. They're going to play the fucking hits and try to get people out of their seats.
They have 10 minutes.
It was like 10-minute fucking, montage of their band.
One thing I very much enjoyed, and I don't know whether other people noticed, especially the people putting it on, but when they were singing American Idiot, they trotted out a bunch of like NFL Hall of Famers, like to stand on the stage. And I was like, wait a minute.
Wait, why are we doing that? Jalen Hurts was there. No, they were called legends, NFL legends.
Yes, but why would you?
And Jalen Hurts was there.
American Idiot.
So I don't know. Green Day. Kind of know what you're getting when you get them. I mean, there was. They gave exactly what I expected them to give, and they brought it. They brought it. I mean, like if you want something different, get Hoosier, get fucking Geese or whatever.
Did you call him Hoosier?
Hoosier.
I don't think that.
What's his name? Who's
Isn't
bad?
He Irish?
I don't fucking know what he is.
Hosier.
Hosier.
I don't know how you say it.
Get that guy, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's it's Green Day. You're gonna get Green Day.
Oh my God, we ate so fucking much, bro.
It's also green. Oh yeah, during the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we were just like
all nasty too. Like,
what would it be like if we just were total pigs at a Super Bowl party? So it's just Dale and me, and we bought like 5 different kinds of like junk food. It's great.
I have a theory about why our numbers are down. You want to hear it?
Because we're bad at this?
Nope. Well, hey, man.
I don't know. I'm guessing. What's your theory?
I didn't ask you to guess. I asked if you wanted to hear my theory.
Okay, what's your theory?
Because yours sucks.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. My theories often suck.
My theory is that we're mentioning Patreon and we turned off the super chats. And ever since, our numbers have dropped so dramatically.
You're being punished.
I don't know.
You're being punished for not giving.
I don't know. I mean, I have no evidence that that's what's happening. So this is all anecdotal. I can't speak to anything, but I can just tell you that like ever since, so maybe that's it. Maybe I got to turn super chats on and shut up about Patreon. By the way, for those who are on Patreon, I hope you guys got my email today. Just a couple more days. Been dealing with a lot of technical shit.
Okay, but listen.
And then I'll launch the rewrite, which I'm super stoked about.
Another thing that happened this weekend.
By the way, my astrology lines up with that. That whole rewrite that I've been, edging toward.
Perfect.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Yeah, that's great. Wind at your back type shit, right?
Sort of.
Another thing I learned this weekend, because I also learned a bunch about Puerto Rico and the whole American diaspora that I didn't know, was that there is an Olympian named Breezy Johnson. Did you know that there was an Olympian named Breezy Johnson?
Yeah.
Not to be outdone, Peekaboo Street is also out and about.
Yeah. She's not competing though.
Breezy Johnson medaled. Peekaboo. I don't know. No, I don't think
she's
so.
Old school.
I think she aged out.
I know who Breezy is.
You know who Breezy?
I'm up on it.
Do you know Breezy's real name?
No.
Breezy Noble Johnson.
Breezy Noble Johnson.
And I think that says a lot more about her parents than it does about her. Because I was hoping that it was just a name that she'd earned, but no, it's a name they gave her.
Because you're like, okay, Breezy, I'm just gonna go with a middle name.
I mean, I would absolutely
Noble here.
I would absolutely go by Breezy, but I don't know. I mean, she has to be into sports. She can't be into. There's a lot of fields where she would kind of get locked out with a name like that. Delicate said, "Love Benito so much," all caps, big heart emoji.
Love Benito, yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
Slow Cars here says nobody here. He's over in the UK. Mm-hmm. So understands American football very well, but the Super Bowl is such a crazy, fun, and strange event. And it really is
so strange.
It's so fun and strange. And we had a great time. We had fucking all this salty processed food out, which we never eat. I woke up this morning with a puffy face.
I know. I can feel it too.
Face.
It was fun.
It's like, Jesus, man. MSG guy. And then, but yeah, it was fun. I had a good time. I had a really good time.
What?
He says, why do you always bring up, Cosmic says, why do you always bring up Hosier? He's a one-hit wonder from 15 years ago.
Lies. I will not tolerate Hosier slander on this live.
I think he's a really talented guy.
Yeah, he's wonderful.
What's wrong with one hit wonder? That's fucking awesome. Come on, bro. Yeah. Try to have a one hit. Do you know how hard it is to hit? It is so hard to have one hit. Jenny Lewis has been at it forever, really successful, never had a hit.
Yeah.
She's never had a hit.
But she's really great. Undeniably wonderful.
Undeniably
sells
great.
out
People
all of her
love
concerts.
Her.
Yeah.
She's never even had one hit. And I've listened to his music. He's fucking solid. The guy plays a really good guitar. He's got a cool voice. He's expressive. He's great. There's nothing wrong with him. I mean, he's not I'm not going to go out and rush out and buy his records. He's not that for me, but much respect for the guy. Fuck, for sure, bro. One hit? God damn. Like, that's a bad thing. It's like fucking have one hit. Have one hit in your life. It's all you fucking one hit wonder on top of that?
That's a good point.
That's a great title, bro. I'll be one hit wonder all goddamn day long. All goddamn day long. Why can't he fucking people be living off of one hit all the time?
Natalie Imbruglia is still performing Torn.
And she didn't even write it. It's not even hers. She didn't even write the fucking song. She just sang the shit. Did you ever hear the original artist who wrote it, her version?
It's not as good.
It's not as good. She handed it off to the right person. For sure.
Well, I have more I could say, but I could also save it for tomorrow. Do you want to, shall we get to...
Well, no, we don't have to get to it so quickly. We can still talk a little pop culture on this one because it's fun. He had a big party.
Who?
The bunny guy. Bad Bunny. He had a big party. Pedro was there. Mm-hmm. I saw that headline. So I'm 1 degree.
I thought maybe Pedro was actually in the Super Bowl. I thought that he was one of the people dancing.
Well, he's from Chile, so probably not.
I thought I saw him in the crowd.
Oh, he was probably at the Super Bowl. He was probably there. Yeah.
In the crowd, like dancing.
Oh, yeah. Not on the field? Like near the field type thing?
No, I mean in with the dancers. Like, you know how there was that one part where he stands on top of a truck?
I thought I saw him too, but I wasn't sure. Maybe he is there. Maybe he was
We have to watch it again and go find the Pedro.
Find the Pedro. Where's Pedro? So anyway, he had a big party. That's cool. Kid Rock. Can we talk about this whole fucking thing? So this guy, because I promised to watch it and I didn't.
You know that it was recorded like a...
It was pre-recorded?
Yeah, it was pre-recorded in front of like 20 like paid extras that were supposed to cheer.
Really?
Yes. It was pre-recorded in like a soundstage or something.
Oh yeah, Cosmic's confirming Pedro was in the show.
I knew it. I knew I saw him.
Yeah, so it was recorded?
Yeah, it was pre-recorded, yeah.
Of course it was.
They didn't want to redo the part where Kid Rock
I told you it was going to be
didn't hold his microphone up when he was supposed to be singing into it.
What the fuck, bro? And no volume change at all.
He doesn't give a fuck.
Like backing tracks are backing tracks, I get it. But like he's not even...
It's just lip syncing.
Yeah, he's like straight lip syncing and doesn't care.
So stupid.
He's like, they're just here to see me flop around like a fuck... Like, he doesn't even dance. This guy's a fucking waste.
It was cool if you enjoy lasers and like sparkle pyrotechnics.
It was the Turning Point laser show.
Yeah.
They bought all the gear. They got all the gear. They got the guy that they pay. Did you see the little sparkler fireworks they were like making this audible like and there were just like these little tiny pyrotechnics.
Yeah, they didn't want to waste them before they only bought so many, right? So many charges. So they didn't want to waste them before Kid Rock came on.
I saw somebody tweet the most ridiculous tweet. It was something like, Bad Bunny at the end of his show called for hate to overcome or love to overcome hate, so on and so forth. And to unite all of the the countries of the Americas as one, and which he should just run for El Presidente at this point.
Dude, solidarity is such a strong message. Like it never fucking fails. This is why he's so huge. But
then they said, and then the other guy, meaning Kid Rock, said, it's time to dust off your Bibles and and give your life to Jesus. The choice is clear. Said this.
Why are these
said this
people,
person who evidently just dusted off their Bible?
What I don't understand is like why these people can't tell they're being tricked.
I fucking don't know, dude.
Like,
I
would be
know.
offended if somebody like Kid Rock was telling me to read
That's
my
your guy?
Bible.
That's your guy?
If I was interested in a Bible and Kid fucking Rock was telling me to read it, I'd be pissed at him.
Yeah, no,
I'd be like, I know what you're fucking trying to do.
They got into these like these redemption stories that came out of these fucking people who were like, yeah, man, I'm reformed, and and what reformed me was, my finding Jesus or Jesus finding me, or I don't know how that fucking exactly works. But, the whole Jesus reunion, I got the dunk, I got dunked or whatever. Maybe it's...
Yeah, the Russell rebrand.
The Russell rebrand. So, you've got like this fucking, this absolute, You
become famous for being a giant piece of shit. And then your only option, I guess, to continue to be a celebrity who makes money is to completely turn into a fucking Christian grifter.
I honestly believe that is the like the only way you can really prove like that there's a God at work. Is if somebody can stand in front of you and say, I used to be a murderer and now I'm a chaplain, or I used to be something despicable and terrible.
You said that's evidence that...
Yeah, that's the only other thing that they can show as evidence of kind of a God at work.
That they changed their opinion about themselves?
Yeah, but through this idea, through this ideal.
I just...
to this doctrine.
It's
this
just
doctrine.
such a very obvious manipulation. I feel sorry for people that don't see it. Like, but, I felt the same way about Donald Trump when he was ascending to some sort of like notoriety enough to like actually seize any kind of power. I was like, the guy is a fucking grifter.
Who?
He's like
Donald Trump?
Yes, I was like, he's
also accused pedophile.
If you wrote
an accused child murderer, he is a convicted. He's not convicted. He was found civilly liable for rape.
You're talking about the real world.
He's a convicted fraudster in the state of New York.
You're talking about the real world, and I don't think that really matters to many people. But what I was saying was that, like, if you were writing like a Dick Tracy comic book, right?
She said Dick. Yeah.
And like Dick Tracy is known for like the
for yellow.
The illustration style is like very, very literal, super extreme. Like you can tell who's a good guy and who's a bad guy because the bad guys are all like mangled in some way,
Mm-hmm.
And the good guys are all like sharp.
Right.
I was like, if you wrote like a grifter con artist who's very wealthy, the caricature that you would draw would look just like Donald Trump. You would have him wear like orange spray tan and like suits that are too big
and go and move like this.
Yes.
And like just
and have a fucking weird mouth and like
and drink like this.
You would do
like
all those things.
All these fucking...
And I just can't believe that people are so bad. Like their self-preservation instinct is so fucking deadened. I don't understand it. It's so obvious to the rest of us.
Cosmic Grizzly said that was actually funny, Dale, which means that I'm not very funny, apparently. Oh
He said, everyone's a critic, bro.
He put actually there. I know. He put actually in there.
That's what that means.
It's like, I think that's the most he's capable of in terms of compliments. It's like, that's the uttermost compliment I could give him.
He has to like gift wrap it in an insult.
He put actually funny in there.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm going to give him some, but I'm going to take more away than I give him.
Some people just do that. That's how they operate.
I fucking love you too, bro. Whoa, itchy ear. Workers of the world unite, baby, says Slow Car. That's what I'm saying, man.
Workers of the world unite?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Unless they're
Slow
cops.
Car is gonna
we don't want them in our union.
Slow Car is going to want to join the Patreon.
Okay.
Go over to the Patreon. The link is in there. You're going to want to join that because I'm going to start doing, and then I'm going to leave these sessions up, but I'm going to be doing the second edition of Too Real a Hollywood Memoir. It's going to be several months. I'm going through something with it, which is really exciting. Like in terms of the, I feel like there's a certain amount of creative, I don't want to call it I feel like it's stirred up inside me again in a way that is extremely positive, but also that there's something more conclusive about this pass that is a part of this necessary process for me. So I'm super excited about it, but I'm going to use it as a learning event, man. I'm going to rip apart and, like basically every chapter. And I'm also going to be reading it live. It's going to be pretty dope. So you're going to want to join that. It's $1 a month. You can do more if you want, but it's $1 a month to get in the door. And then you get a little wristband. All right, that's all I got to say about that.
2 drink minimum.
Yeah, you get one. You get one, and you get a wristband and 1 drink ticket. Mm-hmm. I think I used to go to places like that in Winnipeg where you get drink tickets. In Canada, they have socials. Do you know what that is?
You explained it to me, but I can't remember. It's
basically, you rent a hall,
yeah,
and you're allowed to buy booze for your social because it's kind of like a fundraiser thing. It's like, oh, Dale's having a social. It's like first crowdfunding. Early crowdfunding in Canada
You'd throw a party.
was socials.
Yeah.
And you would buy all the booze and then you would sell the booze. You'd sell drink tickets, not booze. You'd sell tickets.
Yeah, that's
and you
the
can
workaround.
exchange the tickets for the booze.
They do that in the galleries. Like,
Yeah.
at least, I don't know if anywhere else, but I used to go to galleries often in Los Angeles, and that's what they always did.
And you'd be like, 1 ticket for a beer, 2 tickets for a fucking highball.
Yeah, exactly. And it was always well anyway. So they were like the same price.
All right, what's going on? All right, we should get to business, but it's amazing how Teflon Don gets away with everything just by threatening to sue, deny, accusing. He's literally suing the United States taxpayers for $10 billion currently. And he is a sitting president who's accused of the most heinous crimes
Why does he
ever
get to
known
do that? Well, he's a president.
Yeah, he's suing. He is suing the American taxpayer
And he's
for
already-
$10 billion
There's a bunch
because the United States government investigated his crimes.
Yeah, I know. There's also
And by the way,
another...
Jack Smith just sat before Congress and said before Congress that he has what he believes to be proof beyond any reasonable doubt whatsoever that Donald Trump committed crimes
Yeah, right.
while in office in his first term. He has the proof.
Yep.
And the president is literally suing because of their pursuit for that. That's the $10 billion lawsuit.
I just want you to take a little journey with me real quick.
Okay.
Just in your...
Where are we going?
In your
Where
heart.
are we going? Where are we
Okay.
going? Deanne just got here. That got me.
We are
super
fast
excited.
forwarding in time.
Okay.
We are in a new reality
Oh.
in which that man does not exist anymore.
Oh man.
How's it feel?
I'm scared. I'm scared shitless.
What do you mean?
You once bitten, twice shy, baby. Who the fuck is coming next?
No, you're like a villager where you're like, what do you mean we haven't seen the dragon in like 2 weeks? What is it up to?
I think the midterms are going to be what really gives me relief or ulcers.
Oh, fuck.
We'll see. But it's look, man, some crazy shit's happening. Donald Trump is asking for the nationalization or the what do you
I
call
don't
it?
want to talk about this.
Of well, I'm going to. He's calling to nationalize elections. Uh-huh. He wants to make it a federal. He wants the federal government to control all the elections of the entire country. All elections, state, federal, all of them, and he's doing that because I think they know what's coming, which is not a blue wave, it's a wave of rebuke,
A Wave of Rebuke, the new novel by Dale Wheatley.
Okay, Jenny Slate. So this comes as a kind of a request from SC. You remember SC? She comes by all the time.
Oh yeah.
In the live, but she's always around in the. She's very kind to us, man. She'll do things like she'll bookmark for in the chat for the Baldoni parts, because a lot of people follow us for that, like so many, and so she's really great. And she texted us and asked if we had read that yet, which I hadn't. And she was like, it's a pretty fun one. So this is sort of by request. It's by conversation. And we're going to read Jenny Slate's, and it does sound like it'll be a wee bit juicy.
We have 45 pages of this, but they're single pages.
Oh, so it's very fast.
Good. Wet my whistle.
Ladies and gentlemen, let the games begin.
Okay, this is excerpts, right?
Yeah.
We don't have the full page. I mean, the full transcript.
Yeah.
Before we
begin, let me just say, because I forgot to say to Slow Car, I didn't correct the Patreon, so don't sign up for the writers thing. If you're going to sign up, just sign up for the crew. The writer room is going to be included. I just have to make the adjustment. I should have done that today, and I didn't.
Oh, you're busy.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I have to say about that. Thank you, Angela.
So this is going to be a little bit segmented, It's just little excerpts all crushed together.
Okay.
So I have one page here, okay?
Yes.
Question from the attorney to Jenny Slate. And you were an actress in the film It Ends With Us, right? She says yes. And in that film, you portrayed the character of Alyssa. She says yes. And who was Alyssa in the film? I actually don't know if I'm saying that right because Colleen Hoover apparently had like an issue with how this character name was said, like corrected somebody, but I didn't hear the correction. I think it was like Blake Lively and Brandon Sklenar or something were talking about how they were pronouncing it wrong. So I'm saying Alyssa, but I might be wrong. I don't know. Elisa? I don't know. Okay.
Oh, by the way, you know what we did forget to talk about? Was Justin Baldoni put his health and wellness inspired.
Yeah, we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Estate.
Let's get back to this. And who was Alyssa in the film? Alyssa is the sister of Ryle and the best friend of Lily. And Ryle and Lily are the main characters? She said yes. And how did you come to portray Alyssa in the film? Jenny Slate said, I was offered the role. He says, by whom? Answer, through an email from my agents. So you didn't audition for the film? And Jenny Slate said no. When you were offered the role, what did you do to determine whether you wanted to take it? And Jenny Slate said, I read the script. Like the first thing I did, I'm sorry. So she said, I read the script. And then she's asking like, what do you mean? The first thing I did to determine whether I wanted to take the role. Anyway, that's the end of that. So I guess that's just they included that just to establish how she was given the role. Mm-hmm. She was offered it. Okay. Oh, hang on. There's something wrong with my file. Let me just reload this.
Oh, great. By the way, if you're living in California, well, we'll give you a little PSA. Don't eat the fucking wild mushrooms in California, bro. 4 people dead. 3 liver transplants after eating death cap mushrooms in fucking California. Y'all got to stop eating them mushrooms, bro. They look like they're delicious. They are going to kill you or they're going to ruin your liver.
Are you just going to sprinkle little like topical subjects in the middle of the reading as we go through? Like every time I pause, you're going to be like, and another thing in the news.
Melania Trump's documentary.
Back to you, Angela.
Did you hear about what's his name, Johnny Greenwood, going after the Melania addiction?
No, I didn't, because I want to read this.
Go right ahead, man. I'm waiting on you, bro. We're waiting on you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
You expect us to sit here silently while you poke around?
Okay. Next question from a few pages later. I'm going to withdraw the question. We'll move on to another topic. Did Wayfair provide you with any workplace harassment training in connection with It Ends With Us? And Jenny Slate said, not that I can remember. Do you recall receiving any training regarding a safe work environment or sexual harassment? She said, not that I can remember. Did you understand whether there was a human resources department in connection with It Ends With Us that you could go to with any concerns related to the film? And she said, I assumed. But the question, do you know if there was one? She said, no. Were you ever given an email or a hotline you could use to raise concerns? She said, not that I recall. Okay, this picks up another few pages later.
1-800, my boss is dirty.
What the fuck? It's crazy. Okay, what conversation had occurred? I don't know what the context of this is. I'm sorry. It's just a little excerpt. But Jenny Slate said, before this text exchange, there was a conversation on set where I felt that something inappropriate happened and I mentioned it. Question, can you tell us a little bit more about what was going on? What was the inappropriate thing that you felt had happened? And Jenny Slate says, we were, in my memory, getting ready to shoot, and Blake and I and Justin were on set, and he mentioned that she looked, I can't remember the order of it, but sexy and then hot, or hot and then sexy, or that her look was sexy or hot. And I remember her saying something like, that's not what I'm going for. And then he tried another modifier, either hot or sexy. Again, I forget the order. And I remember her saying something like, not that either. And then I said to Justin something like, you know, I was recently talking to a friend about how comments about actors' bodies and their wardrobes, and again, this is paraphrasing, but it ranged from irrelevant or unnecessary to like inappropriate and distracting. And it's, you know, can be a little bit awkward to call it out, but like we're just not doing this anymore. And I felt that I needed to say that because that's how I felt. I didn't want to speak for Blake because I didn't know her well at the time. And I can only speak for myself, so generally. But Justin seemed that he didn't like that I said that because he sort of like walked away in a huff. That contradicts his story of it. Justin seemed like he didn't like that I said that.
We saw this on tape.
But because he sort of like walked away in a huff and then came back and said something like, the reason why I use the word hot is because it's hot in here. So that was the situation as I remember it.
So he lied.
They're all telling different stories. Every one of them is telling a different story.
Because we all have different experiences.
I'm going to have to like compile these and like, you know, figure out like
Dude,
whose story. This is what I did with your depositions. It
Yeah.
was like I compiled everybody's story of a single event and I was like, whose story matches, whose story doesn't. Question, did you believe him? Jenny Slates, did I believe him? Question, that the reason he used the term hot was because it was hot in there. She said, no. What did you think of that comment? Jenny Slate said, I was disappointed by it. And did you sound... Sorry.
That's such a like a bomb she drops.
Yes.
She just keeps dropping that bomb. I was
know.
disappointed by it. I feel that.
Yeah.
And it's Jenny Slate. Like, I don't give a shit what Jenny Slate thinks or whatever. But just her saying that is just like, I don't know. It's so much more effective.
She's awfully...
If I was ever going to be a parent, and I'm obviously not, but if I were ever going to be one, that would be my absolute like nuclear bomb. Like, you've disappointed me. Like, those are the words you wouldn't want to hear if you're my kid.
Well, you have to have a really strong bond with a kid before you pull that one, because
I'm gonna guess that's what I have. Yeah.
I know a few people who, if their parents said that, they were like, and I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Well,
You know what? You disappointed me. So I guess we're even.
yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm sitting there with a cigarette hanging on my fucking mouth and a fucking whiskey fucking
Yeah, right.
highball in my fucking left hand.
Okay. Next question.
Yeah.
Did it sound to you like Justin was making an excuse that was not truthful? And Jenny Slate said, yes. And why is that? Jenny Slate says, well, I was there. I heard the descriptor used in the context that it was used. Did you feel that you understood the meaning of what he was saying when he said it? And Jenny Slate says, I'm sorry, the attorney is asking again. It was objection to form from Miss Porter.
Yeah.
So the attorney says, let me ask that again. How did you understand Mr. Baldoni's comment to Miss Lively? Jenny Slate said, I understood his comment to that it was about her appearance. Question, did you feel that it was about her character or her? And Jenny Slate said, I felt that it was about her body. Next question, did you come to understand how Miss Lively interpreted Mr. Baldoni's comment at some point? She said yes. And when was that? She said later that day. And then the rest gets cut off. So skipping a few pages.
It's just so funny because like I don't know why anybody thinks like on like that support him. Why anyone thinks like, oh yeah, this is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with this conversation. Like, dude, I mean, you know, I'm not a prolific filmmaker by any stretch of anyone's imagination, and but I've been on a few sets, and there's just not one instance that I can think of, either sets where I was, you know, the big muff, or sets where I wasn't, where anybody saying that would have been appropriate under any circumstances.
It's just the
indie film, whatever.
It's just that really typical, boring, like, oh, it was just a joke response. Like he, according to Jenny Slate, he came back.
I'm saying the whole conversation. When you say sexy, you know, it started off. We know from Justin, or we know from the tape, I think, that it's sexy, and then hot. Isn't that right? Do we know that?
Yeah, he certainly wasn't talking about the temperature in the room if he called her sexy.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make is that him having that on his, like, to call, like, I don't care, dude. It doesn't matter to me if she did look sexy. Like, that's not the issue. The issue is that you spoke it into existence when you should just shut your mouth and just enjoy the view. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, okay, you have a really beautiful woman, scantily clad or what have you, in front of you. Go about your day, you know, and just call it a blessed life.
Why are you verbalizing it?
Right. Like what? Like there's no one that I know of on a set that would ever say something like that, but for maybe in the 90s, Tobey Maguire.
He would talk like that, or he would just act in weird.
I think Tobey would. I think Tobey would say, "You look sexy. You look hot." Yeah. You know, and again, like you can change the game up a little bit, because if I was sitting across from an actor and an actor was saying to me, I want to look sexy and this isn't sexy, and I'm like, fuck, you look sexy. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference there.
Yeah, there's a difference.
It's like, it's not, we're talking about where he's feeling a compulsion to that expression, which is, and I use the word compulsion because everything about this guy is horny. It's all horny. It all comes from that weird, like horny compulsion, and not from like him genuinely observing Blake Lively and being grateful that he has this incredibly beautiful woman to be in his movie. I mean, come on, bro.
It's so strange too.
And
talented.
It's like
there's nothing unique about that. Everybody's horny. Like
Yeah.
They just managed to not fucking talk about it.
We're fucking primates, bro. We're fucking horny. We got that.
But we don't fucking talk about it.
Yeah, we all just fucking kind of like keep it all inside and move about our business.
Where it's normal.
And
it's easy to do.
If opportunities arise, let them go where they may.
Okay. So Jenny Slate's answer, this is out of context, but her answers, I was concerned, and yeah, I was concerned. Question, why were you concerned? She says, all of those things in my mind are unprofessional, inappropriate, and really out of the ordinary. Next question, what about these incidents that Miss Lively described to you made you feel that they were inappropriate? And Jenny Slate said, invasion of privacy, calling someone's trainer to find out their body weight, unprofessional emotional expression. Question, is there anything else you and Miss Lively spoke about in that conversation? And not Blake Lively. Jenny Slate said, I can't recall other specifics, but I know that the conversation was around listening to each other, wanting to be supportive, needing to be affirmed, validated, and trying to figure out what was going on. Next question, did you find it unsettling what was going on? She said, yes. So this is a few pages later. This question is, what do you recall those to be at that time? And Jenny Slate said, Justin's inappropriate comments, generally a kind of chaotic set. Yeah. Question, when you say his inappropriate comments, you mentioned the hot and sexy comments to Miss Lively. Were there any comments to you that you felt were inappropriate at that time? She says, yes. And is this from Mr. Baldoni? She said, yes. What did he say to you that you felt was inappropriate? Jenny Slate says, he said something like, in quotes, I can say this because my wife is here, but you look sexy in what you're wearing. Question. And what about that did you feel is inappropriate? And Jenny Slate said, I would say it breaks a pretty well understood norm to comment. Give your personal opinion on how someone's body looks.
Yeah.
Question. When you say a pretty well understood norm, can you explain that a little bit more about what you mean by that? And she said, sort of like what I said previously in the situation that I described between Blake and Justin and I assume there was an understanding of we're not doing this anymore. It's not appropriate anymore. It never was appropriate, but it's not appropriate in a workplace.
Well, now it's called out. Like it was never appropriate, but you got away with it because it was the norm. It's not the norm anymore. Now the norm is shut your mouth.
But it's not appropriate in a workplace. And the attorney says, and even on a film set? And she says, in any workplace.
Yeah. What do you mean even?
Well, that's one of their arguments. That's one of their arguments to the fucking judge, is that they're saying that
no, that's not their argument. The argument isn't that it's on a film set. They're saying it's on a film set that was that where the topic is
right,
has sex and sexy time and whatever.
She said in any workplace.
Feldbauming said that why'd I lose it? It probably didn't help that Blake's cleavage was available for his leering eyes when he called the outfit sexy. Well, look, that's it's a funny way to put it because like that's sort of the mentality around the idea.
It's not because of how she dressed.
It's not because of yes, she looks amazing.
No, that he can't keep words in his mouth doesn't have anything to do with how she dressed.
Blake Lively is hot as fuck. Everybody knows that. Mm-hmm. You don't walk up to Blake Lively and go, "Man, you're fucking hot, bro. You're hot as fuck." You don't do that. When you see Blake Lively in this fucking super low cut onesie,
can I do that?
Where she's looking absolutely like when I meet Blake Lively, can I? You don't walk up to her and go,
"Is that rude?"
You don't lust after that, right? You get on with it. You'd be like, "Yeah, you can do."
What if I go up to Blake Lively when I meet her and I ask her what her skincare routine is? Is that allowed?
No, it's completely allowed. I mean, if a dude said
I'm commenting on her appearance.
But that's not. You're not saying you look sexy. You're saying you have nice skin. How can I get similar results?
By the way, if anybody knows Blake Lively's skincare routine, send it.
It's called fucking billionaire. It's like this. You just rub it all over you.
You rub all the. You have to get like $1,000 bills, crisp from the bank, and rub it on your face.
The reality is that she can wear whatever she wants. I mean, you don't, and you can be a human being and be, wow, she looks hot. Just don't fucking say it. I know. It's obvious.
So stupid.
It's not like we're denying the reality here.
Obviously, you're not making up like some kind of you're not moralizing about it. You're not like telling him he has to behave a certain way for your preference.
Right.
Look at the trouble it got him into.
Right.
Look at how there's actual rules about this.
For a reason.
Look at how he's a fucking bonehead for letting out of his mouth what should have just been kept as a thought, because now he's in all this fucking mess. Now there's people being deposed about what he said.
And I think it's even more important on a set because on a set, she's playing a character, bro. This is completely uninvited. She's not going out trying to go to a bar and turn heads. She's not doing that. She's showing up for work. She's at the workplace. She's trying to get her job done. So while it's certainly also inappropriate to behave that way if uninvited in a social environment, obviously there's latitudes there. In a work environment, it's fucking totally unacceptable, and even more so in a film setting, because in a film setting, they're playing a character, they're doing it involuntarily. It's not like when you walk into the office and you're like, oh, the girl you find hot is wearing something low cut. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about like she's putting on a costume, bro.
Yeah.
She's playing a role.
I guess that's his defense too. He was like, no, I was calling her character's costume hot, not
hers.
Well,
that would be absurd, and nobody would fucking buy into that nonsense.
Okay, so Jenny Slate says it's not appropriate in a workplace, and the lawyer says, even on a film set, she said, in any workplace. And the attorney says, and is that the case even though your physical appearance is an element of acting? And Jenny Slate said, the lawyer said, let me strike that. Is it the case that your physical appearance is an element of acting? She said, yes. So he's rephrasing the question. I say he, I don't know who this is. And is it the case that you felt it was inappropriate in this workplace, even though your physical appearance is an element of acting? She said, yes. And why is that? Jenny Slate said, the comment was about me, not my character. It wasn't useful for my work. It wasn't anything I wanted. Which goes to the point, like if he was commenting about the character, what use? There would be no use. He'd be saying, God, Lily Bloom is hot. How do I take that fucking note?
That's not a note. That's the same thing.
I'm playing the sister.
All he's doing is dressing it up for himself to,
It wasn't useful for my work. It wasn't anything I wanted. It was unwanted and had no place in my professional experience. So the attorney said, did you feel the same way about the comments Mr. Baldoni made to Miss Lively that you described earlier? She said, yes. Did you feel that Mr. Baldoni was sexualizing you? She said, yes. Did you say anything to Mr. Baldoni at the time when he made the sexy comment to you? She said, yes. What did you say? Jenny Slate said, I was surprised and bummed out, sort of lightly stunned. And I think I said something like, yeah, it's a good look. Question, did you tell him that you didn't like the comment? She said, I did not. And why did you not do that at that time? Jenny Slate said, I didn't feel comfortable. The attorney said, why not? And Jenny Slate said, because I think it was either my first or second day on set. He was my boss, and I just wanted to do my work and leave. That's pretty devastating. That's why she didn't speak up. She was like, I'm new here. This is my boss, and I just wanted to do my work and get out of there.
Yeah.
That's how it goes in every single restaurant, retail store, anytime that people get sexually harassed by their bosses at work.
And this is what people want to play into this kind of notion that it wasn't very severe then, and no, it wasn't very severe. That's true. She wasn't being wildly harassed and harangued, or something would have happened, and that's why it's always or this case and many like it are about the compounding effect of a hostile workforce.
But this is also, it's really interesting when you think about, I know that I've heard you say that books and screenplays and works of art, like story, right? They have a life of their own. That the person who writes it creates it, but then it goes out into the world and it lives its own life. Yeah. I've heard you say this before.
Yeah.
Well, Colleen Hoover wrote a book specifically about challenging the idea that we should ask women why they stay in uncomfortable or abusive relationships. And instead, what we should be asking, according to Colleen Hoover, is why are the men in these relationships abusive? That we should quit trying to scrutinize the women in the scenario, the abused in this scenario, and instead scrutinize the abuser. And these questions where they're like, why didn't you complain? Why didn't you feel comfortable complaining? Those are all sort of like needling around in this area that Colleen Hoover is telling everybody that we should ignore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just think it's interesting when they're like, well, what was Blake Lively wearing? Well, it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Or like when Blake Lively had the first meeting with him and he told her abruptly, out of nowhere that he was circumcised. And people are like, well, if she was so appalled by that, why did she continue to take the job? Well, Colleen Hoover said that you're not supposed to be asking that question, and you should instead be asking, why did Justin Baldoni behave that way?
Totally.
And so I just feel like a lot of these questions are just sort of like preemptively hit back at that, which is, I think, is going to factor really heavily into the trial, because they're going to have to answer these questions for the jury. They can't assume the jury isn't also going to ask these, like, you know, misogynistic, sort of like patriarchal framed questions. Oh, she got abused. What did she do wrong? You know what I mean?
Totally.
Anyway, that's my soapbox about this.
Well, thank you for sharing it with us. We all liked your soapbox very much.
Okay. All right. So she said, why didn't she feel comfortable telling him that she was uncomfortable? She said, because I think it was either my first or second day on set. He was my boss, and I just wanted to do my work and leave.
She's like, great. Second day on set, and this dude's already fucking after the boobs.
Horrible. Question. She's playing his sister, too. Like, that's their role on camera. Unbelievable.
Right. Hey, right. So there you go. That's very interesting, actually, when you think about that, from a perspective.
She's like, oh, incest, nice. That's great.
Yeah, my fucking brother wants to have sexy fucking chemistry with me.
Okay, question. Going back to the text chain in Miss Lively's response to you, she says in the second line, in quotes, I'm sorry for what you've experienced, and I wish I would have been there to witness it for you. Was Miss Lively not present when Mr. Baldoni made the sexy comment to you? And Jenny Slate said, I don't remember her being there. Next question. Did you talk about that comment in your conversations with her in the trailer on May 23rd? She said, I must have. Question. And then at the end of this entry in the text exchange, Miss Lively says, you were able to be, she says in quotes, sorry, Miss Lively's writing. This is a quote. You were able to be bold without being inflammatory, which is such a tightrope, and I really appreciate it. The question is, did you understand this to be referencing the statement that you made? Oh, that gets cut off. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so we pick up 4 pages later.
Damn it.
I know. I usually try to keep aware of that, but it snuck up on me. Okay. The next question is, how did you find out? I don't know the context about this. The last thing that Jenny Slate said on this page is weirded out by that. So the question is, how did you find out? And Jenny Slate says, because as I was... And then she corrects herself. I found out because when I was leaving the room, he made a joke along the lines of, I may or may not have recorded that whole thing. Okay. So this is, Jenny Slate had a problem with them in a rehearsal where Baldoni and Jenny Slate were in a room together rehearsing over Zoom with Blake Lively.
Yeah.
Okay. And they only found out after that Justin Baldoni recorded the whole thing. So according to Jenny Slate,
that's really fucked up it's fucked up generally, but when you're a famous person,
yeah,
you don't know what you might have said.
In a rehearsal?
Yeah, in rehearsal, especially Blake Lively. She can say fucking anything in any given moment. She can.
It's really the most relatable thing about her, actually.
I don't disagree with you.
I totally relate.
I totally agree with that. She's just absolutely, she bumbles it up more often than she should. And yeah, it's kind of great. Endearing in a total common person way.
Yeah, because the difference is like her impulsive speech is her trying to, like, she's trying out jokes. Sometimes they don't land. Baldoni's impulsive speech is him, like, sexualizing somebody and making them feel small, Okay.
Exactly.
So anyway, Jenny Slate said that Baldoni said, I may or may not have recorded that whole thing. And that's how she found out. Question. Did you say anything at the time? She says, I can't remember what I said. The attorney asks, did you and Miss Lively talk about that? Jenny Slate asks, then? And the attorney says, at any time. Let's first talk about it then. Did you talk about it then? Jenny Slate said, Blake immediately said something along the lines of, that wasn't legal to do that. And the attorney says, how did Mr. Baldoni respond? And Jenny Slate said, I can't really recall what he did. So the next question is, did he react well? And Jenny Slate said, I can't remember. I was very flustered. And so the next question is, and going back to the time where Mr. Baldoni referred to Miss Lively as sexy and hot, and you made your statements, you said that he walked away. Did he seem upset then? She said, yes, he seemed upset. Next question. And what about his manner led you to believe that he was upset? And Jenny Slate said, kind of like walking off in a huff type of mannerisms. So the attorney goes, going back to Exhibit 5, at the end here.
He was just trying to be complimentary. I mean, all he's trying to do is make people feel good about themselves.
And when they don't like it, he gets to be a pouty baby about it, because how rude, right?
You know what?
I just called her sexy, and then she gave me some pushback about it, so I'm going to make this entire set.
Fine, you're not sexy. Is that what you want to hear? Okay, you're not sexy. No problem, you're not sexy. Sorry, that wasn't sexy at all.
You know what? You're not sexy.
You know what you look like? Average. You look average. Is that a problem? Is there something in the book that says, you look average?
And that, class, is how you'd prepare your actor when you're a director.
Hey, everyone, it's Plain Jane.
That's how you skillfully prepare your actor for a scene when you want the best performance out of them.
It's 2 days on set. This woman's 2 days on set, first or second day, and she's already being subjected to
She
this
wants to
kind of
crawl into a
nonsense.
fucking hole because of how her director made her feel.
And
Good job, bud.
the worst part about it is that he's acknowledging at the time that he does it that it's inappropriate and wrong.
Yeah. Fucking weirdo. Okay, what about his mannerisms led you to believe that he was upset? Jenny Slate said kind of like a walking off in a huff type of mannerisms. So the attorney says, going back to Exhibit 5 at the end here, you say, in quotes, "How are you feeling? I'm so dead today, my apologies." And then Miss Lively says, in quotes, "You are not dead to my eyes. I'm having a funky time today. You?" Do you see that? She says, yes. Was that the next shoot day? The attorney's asking, the timing is a little off on this potentially because we can't tell if it's GMT time, but it looks like it's the next day. Do you recall? She says, I can see what you can see here. And the attorney says, okay, but do you have any recollection of it being the next day when you begin this next text message? This gets cut off anyway. Okay. I want to be complete and read everything, but sometimes it's pointless. I apologize. Okay, next we go. This is 4 pages later. The attorney asks, did you arrive at your feelings independently based on your own experiences? She says, yeah. Attorney Hudson speaks up, said, all right, should we take a little break? So they're off the record for some reason.
So it's Ezra.
Ezra Hudson. That's right. Okay.
I wish I got the name Ezra. I like the name Ezra. I wish I got it.
I was surprised that she was a woman because I've only heard Ezra being a man's name.
Well, I wish I got it.
And that makes
her.
it like way cool.
That she's a woman and she's got it?
Yeah, it makes it cool. Makes her like, she's like the lead in a rock band. Kind of cool.
Yeah, it's like a girl named Frankie.
Yes, just like a girl named Frankie. Instantly cool. Or Breezy. Breezy Johnson.
Randy.
Breezy Johnson's the name.
My name's Breezy and it is my real name.
Okay, next question from the attorney. Let's get serious, Dale.
So what's your real name? Breezy. No, it's not.
Her whole life, dude. Her whole
life.
Since she was like 4 years old.
She had to carry a birth certificate on her, probably.
Yeah. Okay, listen. The attorney says, Miss Slate, I'm going to hand you another document that we're going to be marking as Exhibit 7. Exhibit 7 is a text chain. I guess this is Ezra Hudson asking. Exhibit 7 is a text chain between Miss Slate and Miss Lively dated May 25th, 2023. Miss Slate, do you recognize this as a text exchange between you and Miss Lively that you participated in? She said yes. And it looks like this continues the prior conversation where Miss Lively said she was feeling funky. Do you agree? She says yes. And you responded, in quotes, so funky.
So fucking funky.
Do you see the last exchange from Miss Lively? She says, I'm having a funky time today, you, and then it looks like you respond so funky. In Exhibit 7, she says, yeah, oh, I see. I'm sorry. The attorney's got her oriented. I'm sorry. I was confused by the time. Yes. The attorney says, and do you recall this exchange as you look at it? And she says, as I look at it, yes. Do you remember what you meant by funky? And Jenny Slate says, being unsettled, feeling weird. Question, did it feel like there were issues that were unresolved? She's restating this question. Did you feel like there was something that could be done to help you feel settled and less weird as you described it? She says, I wasn't sure. Question. Miss Lively says that when she feels like she needs to say something tonight, Miss Lively says that she feels like she needs to say something tonight after rap. Do you see that? She says, yes, I do. And then you respond that, in quotes, if you want someone to be there to advocate for / with you, I'm there. Were you glad that Miss Lively was willing to speak up? Jenny Slate says, yeah. This picks up 4 pages later. Question, did you see this as a general invitation to go into her trailer anytime she was pumping breast milk? She says no.
There was no blinking sign. Now pumping. Like a little neon sign, now pumping.
A neon sign in green, which means you can enter.
Yeah. Enter here. Now pumping.
With a big arrow that goes, it moves.
Blinking arrow that's like you hear.
Question. I'm going to hand you what we marked as Exhibit 8. In addition to sharing your concerns with your manager, did you also share your concerns with your agent? She said eventually yes. And is your agent Josh Pearl? She says at the time yes. Oh, so we didn't know who that was. I can't remember how he came up in a previous...
Josh Pearl?
Yeah, he came up in a different deposition.
That's a pretty good name too. Who's got the bad name? I don't know.
The document that we just marked as Exhibit 8 is a text exchange dated May 27th, 2023 between you and Josh Pearl. Do you recognize this as that text exchange between you and Mr. Pearl that you participated in? She said yes. And Mr. Pearl was your agent at the time? And Jenny Slate says, at the time he was my agent. Question. And in the first text in this chain, you asked him if Stacy has gotten in touch with him, right? And Jenny Slate says yes. And then you go on to tell him that, in quotes, this week has been really intense for a few reasons. It's like fascinating and also so shitty. Justin and Jamie are truly unfit. I'm not scared or anything, just repulsed and deeply irritated. And I know Blake is experiencing that on a much more serious level. The attorney asks, is there anything that was occurring on set other than the incidents that you have described? Jenny Slate said, other than what I've described, I'm not exactly sure like how to answer that. Honestly, I think what I described are the issues other than, COVID and the strike and the general chaos that I sort of described and the behavior that was as described here. I think that's that. Question. And this reflects the feeling that you were having at the time accurately? She says yes. And Mr. Pearl responds, in quotes, are you okay to continue? Do you see that? She said yes. Were you considering not continuing with the film at the time? And Jenny Slate said no. The attorney says, and then you go on to say that you're okay to keep going, but you say, in quotes, I feel like it's about to get really, really bad, and I'm not sure what Blake's limit is, but she's really taken a lot of crap from them, like crazy shit. And I'm not kidding when I tell you that Justin and Jamie freak me out. Like they tell really weird lies, and Justin is astoundingly wrong-headed. Question. When you say they tell really weird lies, what did you have in mind at the moment? And Jenny Slate said, I don't recall. Isn't that a bummer? Question. And then you say, in quotes, I really don't get how he did a TED Talk. He is worse than most of the bros I've encountered, not because he's predatory, but because of his general fragility and misogyny, like not seeming to be aware of any of the obvious no-nos.
Like the obvious ones. That's what I'm saying. Like you trip up, you go, oh, fuck. And then when you do, you generally like, oh shit, I didn't think that through, and I'm terribly sorry if I offended you. It's easy to yeah, it's the basics.
It is really astounding. You're like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
This can't be the same guy that does that back then, The attorney asks, what were you referring to there in terms of his fragility and misogyny and not being aware of any of the obvious no-nos? And Jenny Slate said the defensiveness of that sort of huffy behavior, the inappropriate behavior, those types of things. Question. Were you referring to the TED Talk that your other agent had told you about before you took the role? She said yes. This is amazing. So she had another agent who evidently sent her the TED Talk. Like, this is the guy you'd be working with.
Of course. It's his calling card.
So that's why she's like, he's a fucking fraud.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. I mean, they both got that. They both knew.
Question. And you understood that to be the TED Talk in which he described himself as a male feminist? And Jenny Slate said something like that. Yeah. Question. And did you feel that his behavior was not consistent with someone who proclaims to be a male feminist? And then she strikes that. She's going to ask again, why did you reference his TED Talk here? And Jenny Slate said, I referenced it because of what I say here. His behavior was really at odds with someone who was apparently an expert enough to do a TED Talk. Question. And then Mr. Pearl asks you if you had spoken with Alex. Did you understand that to be Alex Sachs? And Jenny Slate said, when he says, how's Alex been? And the attorney says, yes. And Jenny Slate said, I'm sorry, I'm reading through this because I haven't. And the attorney says, no problem. We're going to go through this kind of quickly. I'm going to ask you another question, so ignore that one. You say you haven't spoken to Alex because, in quotes, when we had brunch, she said she had been friends with Justin for a while, and I just felt weird. So the attorney says, is that accurate? And Jenny Slate said, yes. as to why you didn't speak with Alex? And Jenny Slate said, yes. The attorney says, and what was your understanding of Alex Sachs and Mr. Baldoni's relationship? Jenny Slate said, I didn't know a lot about it, but she said she had known Justin for a few years. Question, and you said at this point, in quotes, reading from the text, he had made the comment to me about looking sexy, but I had decided to just try to push past it, even though it made me feel so unsettled and deeply, deeply disappointed and irritated. So the attorney asked, does that accurately describe how you felt? Jenny Slate says yes. And then you tell Mr. Pearl that Miss Lively had alerted Miss Gianetti at Sony and that Miss O'Neill was also planning to talk to Miss Gianetti, correct? She said yes. And then your last line here in this text chain is, in quotes, I do kind of feel like there might be a limit to what people can take. There are also a lot of crew people who are pretty upset. Question, who on the crew did you understand to be upset at the time? And Jenny Slate says, people in the hair and makeup department and a couple of PAs. That's new.
Couple PAs.
I wonder if they're going to get to testify.
Well, we would.
Let's bring everybody up.
They would be deposed already, I would guess.
Can you see this in my glasses?
What, my thing here?
This monitor, yeah.
I don't think so.
It always irritates me when people wear glasses and you can see their computer in their glasses.
You can't see it.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so the next question here is a few pages later. This skips like 5 pages. Question, with respect to Mr. Heath going into Miss Lively's trailer, did you hear about that from anyone other than Miss Lively? She said, I don't think so. What do you recall her telling you about that at whatever point it was? And Jenny Slate says, I don't recall anything specific, but just that she felt like they were just coming in. Yeah. She felt like they were just coming in. Question, you say that you don't recall when Miss Lively told you this. Was it during the first phase of filming? And Jenny Slate says, I think so. Question, and there was a break in the filming because of the WGA strike, correct? And she says, yes. And that happened sometime in late June? And Jenny Slate says, I believe so, sometime in June of 2023. And with respect to Miss Lively telling you that Mr. Baldoni was improvising And with respect to Miss Lively telling you that Mr. Baldoni was improvising physical intimacy, did she tell you about that during the first phase of filming? And Jenny Slate says, I think so, yes. Question, and what do you recall her telling you? Jenny Slate said, I recall her saying that he was biting her lip when they were kissing.
It's hot.
What? Like that? I love it when you do that.
What are you doing?
Like a dog with a fucking bone. Like you're chewing gristle. That's absurd. I don't know how to turn this off. This thing here.
There's a little button there.
Yeah, I know. There's always a little button. I don't know where it is. Okay. And what do you recall Blake Lively telling you? She says, I recall her saying that he was biting her lip when they were kissing. Question. Did she tell you that he improvised physical contact that was not written in the script? And Jenny Slate said, yeah, that's what she felt. Did you feel something like that would be appropriate? And Jenny Slate's like, something like what? Question is, did you have any views on whether it was appropriate for Mr. Baldoni to improvise kissing or other physical intimacy that wasn't written in the script? Jenny Slate says, I think it's appropriate to do what you planned to do in the scene. And then this gets cut off, but the last question is, so in your view, if it wasn't planned, it would not be appropriate. And I think that that's unfortunate that we don't get to read that. Okay.
Yeah.
Next question, a few pages later. Did Miss O'Neill report back to you about the conversation that she had with Miss Gianetti? And Jenny Slate says, yes. Do you remember that conversation with Miss O'Neill outside of what's written in this text? She says, not specifically. Question, in the text you say that, in quotes, Miss O'Neill went through the general points of the unprofessional behavior and the feeling that I have that's affecting the work. Do you see that? She says, yes. Did you feel that it was affecting your work? She says, yes. Did you feel that the work environment in general was altered by the behavior of Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath? And she says, yeah, yes. And when you also wrote that you, in quotes, ended up telling your manager the whole deal, just like all of the weird stuff that Justin and Jamie have pulled. The question is, do you recall specifically what you told your manager with respect to that? And Jenny Slate says, not specifically at this point, no. Question. And then you also wrote to Miss Lively that you plan to speak with Alex the next day and tell her about your discomfort and feelings of being unsettled. Do you see that? She says, I do. So at that point, had you decided to speak with Miss Sachs, notwithstanding the fact that she had a longer relationship with Mr. Baldoni? And Jenny Slate says, it appears so. And what prompted you to want to raise your concerns with Miss Sachs? She says, I don't recall. Jenny Slate is keeping it close to the chest with this one. Question. And then in Miss Lively's response, she says, in quotes, because I haven't spoken to Justin or Jamie or Alex about the inappropriate behavior yet, you can just speak to what you've witnessed and experienced. I told Ange, but I asked her not to mention so that I could personally tackle, since I have to try to salvage some degree of chemistry and camaraderie with Justin, who's not only my director, but love interest, and we're not even 1/3 of the way done. The question is, what did you understand Miss Lively to be communicating to you here? And Jenny Slate says, the way I took that was that she felt that her work would suffer if she brought it up then, and that I should just talk about what happened to me.
It is a conundrum, man.
And the question is, to Miss Gianetti? She says, yes. Next question. And then if you go down, there's an entry from Miss Lively at 2:44 a.m. where she says, in quotes, you were standing there for the thing he said to me when he said I looked hot. I said, that's not what I'm going for. And he said, okay, sexy, and then made a joke once he asked if he crossed the line, and I said yes, that he must have missed the sexual harassment meeting. Question. Now you described this incident in your own words earlier. Do you recall Mr. Baldoni saying at the end of that he must have missed the sexual harassment meeting? And Jenny Slate said, I don't specifically recall that. Do you have any reason to doubt Miss Lively's recollection of that? She said no.
We have it on video.
Yeah. I saw it. When you saw this, you didn't think immediately, well, that's not right. He didn't say that. To correct. And Jenny Slate's asking in these texts, she says, yeah. Jenny Slate says, yeah, I didn't correct her. Question. If Miss Lively had recounted something that you believe was inaccurate, would you have said to her you remembered it differently? And Jenny Slate says, I don't feel like I can speak to that hypothetical. The attorney says, that's fair. If you go to the next page, at 3:18 a.m., there's a text from Miss Lively where she says, in quotes, it's a culmination. The difference is if someone had said to one of us, if we made them uncomfortable, neither of us would behave the way he does after. That's what's odd. He keeps referencing it or disconnects entirely or gets snippy and impatient as a director. Question, is that the experience that you had as well? She said, yes. Did you understand this to be in reference to Mr. Baldoni? She said, yes. And then Miss Lively says, in quotes, he was so huffy after the sexy thing. I felt awful for saying something. Was that consistent with your experience? She said, yes. So he doesn't get that that's the problem. He is punishing people socially, like with social pressure, punishing them for speaking up and correcting his bad behavior. Yep. And like that is in the moment retaliation. And
it just escalates, he just keeps escalating it. While his paranoia, first it's paranoia around the set and then it's paranoia around, Hollywood and at the agency and then that paranoia, bleeds into his fan base, right?
Well, I'm talking
about
at
each level he just escalates his need to retaliate.
Yes, this is true. But I was talking about like in the moment, like his version of the story doesn't have him walking away in a huff. What he does is he comes back later and he praises her. Thank you so much for saying that. That must have been hard for you to correct me like that, to stick your neck out. And I just really appreciate you pushing back on me. Yeah. And you're right. He doesn't act in his mind. He doesn't act like this at all. Like that.
To me, he's a bona fide liar. I think that is demonstrated. I think empirically now. Is he impeached? No, he can't really be impeached for the things that he's lying about. Like impeaching a witness is incredibly difficult to do without, tape or video or audio or fucking something, right. Major. But like, did he lie about the Hailey Bieber text? I mean, I don't think there's a single juror who would hear any testimony like that.
Well, they did
and
finally
believe him.
in Baldoni's deposition, they did extract from him that he said that he did believe that he was bullied by Blake Lively. And so there you have it. That's retaliation.
No, I agree.
His
they
publicist...
he was trying to avoid... Look, he had to pick a poison. That guy had to eat a poison pill, no matter what.
Yes.
He either had to say that he felt bullied by her, which was the only way that he could escape trying to get them to do the Kirsty Flaw video.
Because here's the thing, dude. There is no ethical way that a publicist can put out negative press about somebody who is not even involved, like who isn't their client. Like they're only supposed to be working for their own clients, improving their own client's reputation. Like that's how these guys all got exposed for defamation.
Yeah.
Like you're not just supposed to attack somebody in the press, like fucking like randomly pick somebody to attack. Like I know it's obviously not random in this situation, but they're not supposed to have any. Blake Lively's not supposed to be on their mouth. You know, her name is not supposed to be in their mouth.
Not in a defamatory or any kind of like retaliatory
So that he's saying
way.
This is what we would need, and it's a Hailey Bieber bullies women text. Instead of this is what we would need, and it's like some positive press about him. Because that's what you're supposed to be sending your representatives, Okay.
We have to talk about the Super Bowl commercials, by the way.
No, we don't.
The one that Mike Tyson, I want to talk about that one. Go ahead, keep going.
Question. And then if you skip down to 3:18 a.m., Miss Lively says, and she's quoting, "What you said, though, is very self-aware. Neither of us are people who can't take a joke or who can't work or understand blue. We're not that fragile. You just can't record people without asking. You can't speak to people sexually while not in character or while talking about the character. And if you overstep, you move on. It's the weirdness after that makes it feel bad. Like if we speak up, the vibes on set get funky and the work suffers." Question. Did you feel that Miss Lively in this exchange accurately reflected what was happening on set with Mr. Baldoni? And Jenny Slate said, "In that situation that I experienced where he talked about her looking sexy or hot, yes." Question. And then the recording here, did you understand that to refer to the recording of the Zoom? She said, yes. And did you agree that in your view, you and Miss Lively were not fragile and could take a joke? She said, yeah. This skips 10 pages. So here it picks up. I'm going to hand you a document marked as Exhibit 12. Exhibit 12 is a text exchange dated June 1st, 2023. So this was the date of the meeting that Lively called, where she wanted to talk about on-set problems.
Okay.
This was after the first 2 weeks of filming. Question, do you recognize this as a text exchange between you and Alex Sachs that you participated in? She said, yes. And can you tell that it's Miss Sachs just from the context? She said, yes. And in this message, Miss Sachs sends you a note from Mr. Baldoni. Do you see that? She said, yes. Oh, we just heard about this in his deposition.
Which is it?
He sent an apology note to Alex Sachs to send to Jenny Slate. And in this message, Miss Sachs sends you a note from Mr. Baldoni. Do you see that? She said, yes. And how would you characterize this note? You said earlier that he did not give you an apology. Do you not see this as an apology note? And Jenny Slate said, no, I don't see it as an apology. Question, how would you characterize this note? Jenny Slate said, I would characterize this note as an acknowledgement that he received information from Ange and that, as he said, adjustments will be made accordingly. Question, how did you feel having received this note? Jenny Slate said, I felt that it was, not taking direct accountability and lame. But it was also enough for me to feel like I could focus up and do our work and yeah. And then they take a break for lunch. This picks up several pages later. Next question. And it looks like the subject matter of this text exchange is something called the EPK. Can you tell me what an EPK is? Jenny Slate said, it's EPK, let's hope I'm right, stands for, I want to say electronic press kit, but I might be wrong. And usually what that is sometimes they do it on set. Sometimes they do it after post-production has wrapped in the post-production time. They ask you questions about the production, your role, stuff like that, and then they can use it for promotional materials. And it looks like what? And then that attorney gets cut off by Miss Porter saying, I was just going to mention, I think in your question you asked 2024, but it's 2023, just for the record. And then Ezra Hudson says, thank you. Yes, for the record, counsel is correct. The date of the text is June 4th, 2023. Thank you for correcting that. She said June 1st before. Question. It looks like you were sent some questions to answer for the EPK as part of this text chain. Is that right? And she said, yes. And you say here that your team here, hey, Justin, I don't want to do anything with, I'm sorry, let me reread this. I spent all day reading aloud to you, and it kind of like dulled my ability to be able to read this proficiently.
You gotta, hey, I've been worried about that.
I gotta save it for showtime.
I'm going to be starting to read for 3 and 4 hours a day for the second edition.
Sorry, I'm not as sharp as I usually am.
I'm nervous about it.
Okay. And you say here to your team here, this attorney is asking, in quotes, hey guys, I don't want to do anything with Justin. I don't want to talk about him like nothing. And the same goes for Jamie, who is truly unprofessional. I also haven't read the book, so definitely no cues about that. I'm just not sure how visible I want to be in this campaign. And looking over this list, I'm wondering if actually we should wait a beat. What is Blake going to do? I'll ask her myself on Tuesday. So the attorney's asking, so it was your feeling at this time that you did not want to do anything with respect to press or promotion of this film? This is a revelation because this is in June 4th, 2023. Justin Baldoni wants to claim that Blake Lively turned all the cast against him. But this is her saying, I don't want to do any press with Justin or Jamie. And she's saying, I'm wondering if actually we could wait a bit. What is Blake going to do? So she doesn't even know what Blake is going to do about press involving Justin and Jamie Heath. So I think that that's really interesting. He can't say that Blake Lively is directing her to not do press with him when Jenny Slate doesn't even know what Blake's going to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so the question is, so was it your feeling at this time that you did not want to do anything with respect to press or promotion of this film? And Jenny Slate said, it seems that was my position at the time. Question, and it says here that, in quotes, I'll ask her myself on Tuesday. The question is, had you not discussed this issue with Miss Lively by this time? And she says, I can't specifically recall, but I guess not. Did Miss Lively tell you to tell your team that you didn't want to do press or publicity? She said, no. This was something that you did independently? And she said, yes. Next question. I'll hand you what we will be marking as Exhibit 17. Exhibit 17 is an email exchange dated June 4th, 2023 between Samantha Cooper, Jenny Slate, Paris Reese, Alexander Crotton, I don't know how to pronounce that, Karen Gardiner, Stacey O'Neill, and Jenny Slate, CAA team regarding Jenny Slate upcoming publicity schedule as of June 4, 2023. Do you recognize this as an email exchange that you had with the people that I just described on June 4th, 2023? She said, yes. And in the beginning email below from Paris Reese, there is a schedule of various publicity events. Do you see that? She said, yes. And in response to this schedule, you say, in quotes, hi there, my concerns are only increasing about our director and producer, Jamie. I'd like to do the bare minimum here. Let's talk on the phone and cut it way down, please, exclamation point. The question is, again, is this how you were feeling at this time about doing anything related to publicity for the film? She said yes. And at some point, were you involved at all in publicity or press for this film? She said yes. And I'm going to hand you an exhibit, and we'll mark it as Exhibit 18. This is a text exchange between Miss Slate and Josh Pearl dated July 26, 2024. Do you recognize this as a text exchange that you participated in with Mr. Pearl? She said yes. I guess this cuts off. 3 pages later, it picks up. Question, and it's an accurate depiction of how you were feeling at the time it's an accurate depiction of how you were feeling about them at the time. Jenny Slate said, at this time, July 26th, yes. Next question is, now, you said that you did participate in some press and publicity for the film. Is the fact that Miss Lively's cut with Sony was the one that was being released, and the attorney says to strike that. She's trying again. Did the fact that Miss Lively's cut with Sony was the one that was being released impact your willingness to do press or publicity for the film? Jenny Slate said, I don't think that it mattered to me whose cut it was. I think it just mattered to me that the cut was watchable. Question, at some point, did you see the cut of the film? Jenny Slate said, I never saw the full, completed movie. What made you decide to participate in press or publicity for this film at all? And Jenny Slate said, I didn't want to let my castmates down. I didn't want to be dramatic. It seemed that everybody was participating and I just wanted to make it easy. Yeah. Question, did you do any publicity or promotion with Mr. Baldoni? She said, no. Did you tell anyone that you would not do press or publicity with Mr. Baldoni specifically? She said, I believe so. Question, beyond what you have told your team in 2023, let me just clarify. The attorney is continuing. Did you consistently take the position that you would not do press or publicity with Mr. Baldoni from 2023 up through the time that you were doing publicity and promotion? She said, yes. And what did you do in terms of publicity and promotion for the film? Jenny Slate says, what I recall is 2 content days and a press junket, and that also included like a taped appearance for a morning TV show, and I went to the premiere and, the photo call there. And did you receive direction about how to talk about the film, talking points, things along those lines from anyone? And Jenny Slate said, I believe there were talking points from either Sony or, usually there are those. I'm not usually someone that reviews those, and I don't remember reviewing them. Question. Did you have your own views on how you were going to speak about the film? And Jenny Slate said nothing planned, which is incredible to me because I have to find this video. If any of you guys know where it is, you should send me a link. But Jenny Slate is asked on the red carpet about what it was like to work with Justin Baldoni, and she pivots so expertly. It's like amazing. She very clearly doesn't want to talk about him, but she seamlessly pivots into talking about the broader film and the achievement and all of the cast and everything instead. It's amazing. But she said that she hadn't planned that, and I just find that really impressive because it seemed like it was rehearsed. She's very skilled. Question, do you recall how you spoke about the film during those promotional activities? And Jenny Slate said, I recall wanting to avoid drama in the sort of like social media sphere and wanting to support Blake's performance and speaking to that. Question, and did you speak about the movie as a film of female empowerment? And her answer is, it's quite likely. I don't recall exactly. Next question, is that how you saw the film? And she said, I saw the film as a film about domestic violence and the capacity for a person to try to extricate themselves from the traumatic cycles and a love story. Sorry. Next question. At some point, did you learn that there was negative internet chatter about the film after it was at or around the time it was released? She said, yes, at some point. Question, and how did you first learn that? Jenny Slate says, I can't recall how I first learned it. Are you someone who is frequently on social media? She said, no. Do you manage your own social media? She said, I do not. Does your publicity team manage your social media? She said, no. Who manages your social media? Jenny Slate says, I have an assistant, and when I need to post something, she does it for me. And that, my friends, is how these people have so much time to be successful.
Yeah, they have the same 24 hours as you and me, Angela.
Them and their whole team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is just a few more pages. This picks up several pages later. Okay. Did Miss Lively ever tell you that any of the defendants questioned her about her sexual fantasies or sexual performance?
Say that again.
Did Miss Lively ever tell you that any of the defendants questioned her about her sexual fantasies or her sexual performance? That question, like, you perked up.
Me?
You've been like the living dead here for like 20 minutes. And as soon as I talk about Blake Lively's sexual fantasies or sexual performance, you're like, what? I'm listening.
That's not true.
That's not true. Let me see. Oh, okay. Ezra Hudson says, Counsel, before we go into this, I would like to just invoke FRCP. And so Mr. Schuster says, I'll withdraw the question. So I guess Jenny Slate is now being questioned by the opposing attorneys. I'll withdraw the question, says Mr. Schuster. So that was a question by a man. Did Blake Lively ever tell you that any of the defendants questioned her about her sexual fantasies or sexual performance? And the FRCP, if I'm not mistaken, I think that this is one of the sanctions
Oh, is this the same? Oh, it is.
Yeah, where you're not allowed to ask in depositions victims of sexual harassment any questions about their own sexual lives, their own like dating history, any of this kind of stuff, because it's.
So there I see. So he's trying to broach that with this. She's trying to create an avenue to it that wouldn't get picked up on, that would allow them to then get it introduced in some way.
Yeah. So he wouldn't have to withdraw the question if he wasn't trying to get testimony about Blake Lively's sexual fantasies or sexual performance.
Yeah, against the rules.
He wouldn't have to. He would only have to withdraw the question if he's trying to ask her. Sorry. He'll withdraw the question if he's asking about Blake Lively's sexual fantasies or sexual performance, but he wouldn't have to withdraw the question if he's only asking, did Blake Lively ever tell you that any of the defendants questioned her about that stuff? So it's interesting. I think it's really telling that he withdrew the question. So his next question is, going back to the occasion when Justin referred to Blake as sexy or hot and then sexy, was that during filming or as something was about to be filmed? And Jenny Slate says, in my memory, it was like start of the day and like setting up a shot, like getting ready to rehearse, something like that. Question, and where physically did that scene take place? Was it in an office? Was that on a studio? And I apologize if I'm using the wrong terminology. And she says it was in a bar.
It was in a bar.
Was it on a film set? No. Okay. Question, do you recall that bar being particularly hot at the time? And Jenny Slate says, I don't know, maybe. Question, okay, do you recall what Blake was wearing? Jenny Slate said, I remember that she was in her like own clothes, not wardrobe. Do you remember if she was wearing a jacket? This is amazing. So Jenny Slate remembers that Blake Lively, when she heard that comment, was in her own clothes. Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively says that too. Justin Baldoni says that she was in her onesie. We saw a scene where she's in her onesie in the BTS footage.
She had a
Blake
jacket
Lively
on,
was
though.
talking about two different occasions.
Oh.
Blake Lively said that he commented, I like your dress, like this.
Right.
So I think Jenny Slate is confused because Blake Lively said that he complimented her, said, I like your dress. And he was like looking at her chest and like gestured about her chest because her dress was low cut. Fucking pig. And then another instance where she was called sexy or hot when she was in the wardrobe, the onesie, which is zipped low.
Which is zipped low, yeah.
Okay. So I don't think that Jenny Slate's remembering this
Deanne
right.
said that Jenny Slate is proving a hostile work environment.
Mm-hmm. Do you recall that the bar was particularly hot at the time? She says, I don't know, maybe. Okay, do you recall what Blake was wearing? She says, I remember that she was in her like own clothes, not wardrobe. Do you remember if she was wearing a jacket? And Jenny Slate said, yes, in my memory, it was like some sort of button up or something. And from what I remember, but maybe I'm wrong, that she had like a blazer that I think she said was Ryan's blazer. Yeah, so that matches. That story matches Blake Lively's, but it's a different situation where he made a different comment. Question, as best you can recall, what is the interaction between Blake and Justin as it relates to that comment? And Jenny Slate said, what I've already described. The question is, that fully describes your memory of the event? And Jenny Slate says, is this continuous? Yeah. She says, I think so. What happened after Justin made that comment? Jenny Slate said, in my memory, that was when I said that, you know, as I described before, that the comments were kind of like ranged from being like irrelevant, doesn't matter when people think, like irrelevant, doesn't matter when people think about what we look like in our clothes, to, you know, kind of disruptive, like distracting and not doing that anymore. I can't remember if Justin left like between when he said the sexy hot stuff and then came back and then I said that, or I can't remember how many times he left. Maybe it was once, maybe twice. But then after I said that, in my memory, he left kind of, as I described before, kind of like huffed away and then came back and said the thing about the reason why he said the word hot was because it was hot in the bar. That was a word scramble. Question, did he ever apologize for that comment? Jenny Slate said, no, not that I can remember. Question, who else was present at the time? And Jenny Slate says, Blake, there were lots of crew members, people around. Okay, do you know if the interaction was audio recorded? She says, no. Do you know if there was a video recording of that interaction? She says, no. During the course of this production, did you ever hear Blake Lively use the term sexy? She says, nothing comes to mind. Did you ever discuss sex or your sex life? Miss Porter, objection to form. Miss Hudson, objection. Jenny Slate says, with Blake? And the question is, with anybody in connection with this movie? And Jenny Slate says, nothing more than what the text message shows about a joke that I made about... Sorry. I'm going through two files here to try and figure out. This is page 284. 296. Okay, that gets cut off. Did you ever discuss sex or your sex life? And she says, with anybody in connection with this movie. Jenny Slate says nothing more than what the text message shows about a joke that I made about. And that gets cut off. And then the very last page that we have from Jenny Slate's depositions is her answer to some question we don't know. I can't see it, but her answer is, this is not my lawsuit. The question is, okay, is there a reason why you did not join Blake Lively in this lawsuit? And Jenny Slate says, I felt that I settled my issues on set and I wanted to move on. The attorney says, thank you. Do you know if Blake Lively told Sony that you would not attend the premiere if Justin attended? She says, I don't know that. Did you ever tell anyone that you would not attend the premiere if Justin Baldoni attended? She said, no. Do you know if Blake Lively ever told Sony that Colleen Hoover would not attend the premiere if she attended? And Jenny Slate says, I don't know anything about what Blake said to anybody at Sony. I wouldn't know that.
Yeah, it's a dumb question.
And that's that.
It's also like a question that would never make it in. I mean, it's fucking obviously calls for speculation. Assumes facts not in evidence.
Yeah, right.
It's probably two of the objections that you would hear and probably get sustained.
Well, so do you think that went well for Justin Baldoni's side and the defendants, or do you think that went well?
It was exactly as I expected. It pretty much was exactly what I expected. There was no bombs. She told what is interesting is the stark contrast in their experiences, because there was no retaliation against Jenny Slate. So Jenny Slate just showed up, did her job. She was like, yeah, I settled it on the set. I was good to go. I'm out. And she didn't experience this big giant backlash. She didn't experience what Blake Lively experienced. And I'm just bringing that up because, like, in perspective, it almost sounds bad to Blake Lively, because it's like, oh, why couldn't you be the better person here and accept his apologies as...
Well, Jenny Slate wasn't on set nearly as much as Blake Lively. She had to work with him constantly. She was like in every scene, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So that makes it make
I'm just
sense.
saying, like, it's not definitive. I'm just saying it just can make it look bad for them or for her, for Blake, because, not to a jury, but to, the court of public opinion, which she has definitely suffered in.
Jenny Slate, to me, did not seem forthcoming. I think that there were a lot of answers that she probably did recall the answers to, but she just didn't care to share it. And... I
mean, that's speculative, but, like, look, I totally get it. And, she's I think she's somebody who, like, listens to her lawyers. I think her lawyer was like, just shut the fuck up and answer the questions as best as you can. Do not indulge. Do not, like, over divulge. Just fucking answer the questions in as brief a manner as you can. If you can get it down to one word, that's the master class.
She was deposed for one day, and you can sort of tell in her reading. Sorry if I kind of screwed it up too a little bit, but that she was really sharp and succinct and very clear in her earlier answers, and then later she was doing a lot of, like, ums and ers and and, like, she got tired. It must be exhausting. I know you've been through it, and, like, I can't imagine. Like, I wouldn't wish it on an enemy, I mean,
super exhausting because unless
I was in a lawsuit with his enemies, then I'd probably wish it on them.
It's probably different than a different experience for her, where she's just, answering the questions and going on, getting on with it. Whereas with me, and with, when you're party to the case, they're going to try a lot. They're going to try and trick you. They're going to try and, get you to contradict yourself. Mm-hmm. They're going to try to get you to fuck up the timeline. There's just many different ways in which they're going to try to get you to trip so that they can get it on the record, get it ruled on in their favor, and get it in front of a jury, if it goes that far. or be able to use it in leverage against you in a settlement conference or some kind of mediation. Look, you said in your own fucking deposition, blah 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 da 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 da. Mm-hmm. So when you're sitting for multiple days, for me, it was just definitely like trying hard to be ultra present and like just listening to every goddamn vowel, every fucking consonant that comes out of their mouths.
Exhausting.
Right? And then thinking it through, and it's so easy to slide into an emotional response, and they happen. You read them; they happen all the time.
No, especially for you, since you're so central to how these guys fucked up. Do you remember what you did after the deposition? Like, were you so totally drained that you just like parked on the couch and like?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember specifically what I did. I do remember being extremely exhausted, and certainly, a drink or a smoke or both were probably nearby on all of the occasions. It was really fucking difficult to go through. It's just, you just worry about what you're going to say. So yeah, it's definitely a difficult thing to go through. So Jenny witnessed 2 separate incidents. Is that what you gleaned as well?
She witnessed 2 separate incidents, and for some reason she's conflating them.
Yeah.
Because the story that Jenny Slate told about what was she wearing at the time, and she described what Blake Lively was wearing. Blake Lively said that she arrived on set before she got into her wardrobe.
Yeah.
And Justin Baldoni, I guess it was for a rehearsal before they were supposed to get dressed before the scene shot.
Yeah.
So I think they were just blocking or something. So she arrived in her low-cut dress with Ryan's blazer as a jacket. That is the story that Blake Lively tells about how he commented on her clothes.
Yeah, scientist said that the dress incident happened earlier in the day.
Yeah.
And then just to make sure that she knew she wasn't... Sorry, and just to make sure she knew he wasn't ogling her breasts, he repeated the sentiment during the filming of the bar scene.
In both cases, her cleavage was exposed in both times. What is the matter with him? Like, it was in the same day that he got scolded for commenting about what she's wearing.
I wonder what
and he just did it again and again. These people must have been like, "Are you dim?"
Yeah, it seems like a dimmed light.
Unbelievable.
Cosmic Urgency said, "You guys need to take clips from pro Baldoni videos and respond to them with truth bombs." Yeah. I wonder, like, I'm worried about copyright because I know, like, TikTok has that stitch feature.
Yes.
Which I can do all day. But
so the thing, we're not watching those. So if you guys have any you would like us to respond to, you're welcome to send them. And then
that's the other thing. I'm not combing the internet for this stuff. It's true. Archival Record said, "Geez, Dale," and a hi, by the way. "Geez, Dale, aggressive typing. Was I aggressively typing?"
You were typing.
Well, a couple little things here and there, like all work and no play makes Dale a dull boy.
Over and over and over again.
Cosmic Urgency, this is the C-SPAN of Baldoni coverage. I think that's not a compliment.
No, that's not a compliment.
I'm pretty sure that's not a compliment.
But you know what you get at C-SPAN? You get all the facts. You get the actual information about what's going on.
I think we're mostly entertaining. If today is not so much, then, I apologize. I'm trying to be the monkey you want me to be. But the reality is that, some days we're not going to be perfect. And we see ourselves, or at least I have on occasion, seeing this live being recommended because it's both informative and entertaining. Mm-hmm. So, if we end up being really, unentertaining, then
in fact, some people are actually
pack up our tent and go to a different circus.
There are some people who have commented about this live that it's kind of irritating that we do so much talking instead of just reading. So maybe Cosmic Urgency should be grateful.
Why would he be grateful? Because he's probably on that fence. He'd probably just shut up and read, Dale.
No. Because if I was just reading the whole time, it would just be the C-SPAN of Baldoni coverage. God, I don't want to be the C-SPAN.
Splishness says that Jenny's kind of hard to understand in the format.
Yeah, well, also the format, you guys can't tell, but this is like, there's different printings of so like it gets run off as like a PDF that I download, but this one is like really wide block print. I don't know. It was harder for me to read in the same flow that I usually do.
Yeah.
My apologies, okay? I'll flagellate myself 10 times tonight if it'd make you guys feel better.
So just to close up some of my saved content so I can try to start dwindling down to the things that, just because it's just been Baldone.
What do you save it for tomorrow?
Quentin Tarantino's new Beverly Cinema. Should I?
Yeah.
No, it's too late. I've already started.
Okay.
Quentin Tarantino's New Beverly Cinema is going back to its porno roots. New Beverly Cinema makes an appearance in my book, Two Real Hollywood Memoirs.
I didn't know that it had
very important part of my not only just my years in Hollywood, but my formative years as a filmmaker. I mean, I learned more in cinema going to that theater than I did anywhere else. Like, it was just a constant film school of just getting the greatest films ever made on the screen. Quentin Tarantino's the cinema spent most so New Bev spent most of the 70s as an adult movie theater with hardcore and softcore. So they're going to start playing hardcore and softcore porn in celebration of the theater's history.
I was going to say, you said New Bev was very formative for you?
Yeah.
And
I think most filmmakers in Hollywood would agree that was also big for them.
Patton Oswalt also wrote a book largely about the New Beverly Cinema.
He had big chunks of it, I recall.
Silver Screen Fiend, Learning About Life from an Addiction to Film.
Yeah, I bet you we crossed paths 100 times in Hollywood at the time, because it was the exact same time. Mm-hmm. We were probably in the theater multiple times together.
I read this book
because I lived in that place.
It is super delightful. Patton Oswalt's Silver Screen Fiend.
So it's an IndieWire article, and it reads, the repertory cinema spent most of the 1970s as an adult movie theater called Eros. February's schedule looks back at the era with hard and soft core entries from Wes Craven, Russ Meyer, Radley Metzger, and more. Ever since Sherman Torgan bought Hollywood's New Beverly Cinema in 1978 and turned it into the city's premier repertory house, a tradition. Current owner Quentin Tarantino has continued since buying the property in 2007. The theater has been the place to go to for expertly curated mix of Hollywood classics, international art house fare, animation, and cult cinema. For 7 years before Torgan's reign, however, the New Beverly Cinema was known as Eros and specialized in a very different kind of entertainment, porno movies, okay? I just can't imagine, sitting in the theater going, yeah.
It's going to be wall-to-wall.
Do they sell popcorn?
Wall-to-wall foot fetish films.
Did you ever see The Diner? Did you ever see the movie The Diner?
Did you get my joke?
Wall-to-wall foot fetish?
We're talking about Tarantino.
Yeah.
And he's so unapologetically
Sucking
fucking
feet.
weird about that.
Yeah.
What did you say about popcorn?
Do you even what are you watching? Debbie Does Dallas. Oh, yeah, I'll take a large popcorn. Give me some fucking licorice.
Dude, and the employees of this place are
do you eat?
The employees of this place are you got to be fucking kidding me. What do you mean? Do we have to clean up? Are you guys going to have hazmat come twice a night?
Do they have get yourself a snack little shorts before, Yeah. Do they have a no beating off one,
I have no idea.
How do you deal with all this?
I think what they do
Seems
is
logistically there's work to do.
They probably scare people with surveillance. But then that's also another kink that somebody might have, comes to your movie theater and wants to get on camera.
It's a history that Tarantino paid tribute to in his movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood when Sharon Tate asked, "What's happening at the dirty movie place?" In the movie, obviously. While having dinner down the street from Eros and El Coyote. Oh.
Yeah, that's a good spot.
Still there. In this February, he's honoring the theaters by turning it back into it. So yeah, you can go there and...
In February, for Valentine's Day.
Yeah, so let's see. Oh, Deep Throat is playing. Here we go. We got the fucking...
What's playing on Valentine's Day?
Let me just put this up. This is too dope. What's this?
What's playing on Valentine's Day?
I'll tell you. I'm going to show everybody. Hang on one sec. All right, here we go.
Urgency says, look at this. They're showing Deep Throat, which has gotten some backlash since Linda Lovelace has talked about her experience in the industry.
Oh, really?
But Tarantino doesn't give a fuck about that.
Caligula's playing.
You got to understand. This is Tarantino we're talking about.
Caligula's playing. This calendar is roughly the same way it's always been. But look, he changed the name to Eros up here. You can't see it because you had me turn off the monitor, but
I can see it.
It's really cool. What else we got? We got Vixen. Look at this. I'd probably go and see one of them. I wish if they had The Devil and Miss Jones, I'd go see that. Is that playing? The Devil and Miss Jones, bro, it's like, that is the golden era of porn. It's a movie. It's a straight up fucking watch it from beginning to end movie. Mm-hmm. It's the only porn I've ever watched where I was like, I have to watch the whole thing. I'm finished here, but I got to watch the whole thing. So if they had that, I'd go see that in a minute. Caligula, I've seen. It's kind of brilliant, but that would be so uncomfortable. People are like, oh, you watch like Hot and Steamy, like whatever. What was that? Heated rivalry type, sex where there's like, there's nudity, but it's relatively mild, but all of the, suggested sex that's going on is obvious. Mm-hmm. That's uncomfortable enough. Like we just sit around with, fucking in a public situation, especially, but even, in situations where, certain people in the room or whatever, you're like, oh, fuck, I can't believe I'm watching this in front of you, whatever.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Never mind Caligula, where they're like, it's straight up like fucking like hardcore porn.
Yeah, I'm not made for this because every time that there's a sex scene in a movie, I kind of shrink. Like I just want to just kind of like disappear, especially, like you put on a movie with in mixed company or your fucking parents. God, with family, it's the fucking worst.
I'm trying to see if The Devil and Miss Jones is playing. And then I could tell you guys when to go see it. I guess you guys are looking at this the same way as I am because I haven't switched it back yet, have I? I guess it's not playing. That's the only one I would go see, personally. And I don't know these others. I have never seen any of them except Caligula. I've seen Caligula.
It seems like a really awesome experience if you want to be transported back to the 70s when people did creepy, weird shit, like go watch porn in a theater with other strangers.
I would probably go like if I was like a really like have a good time, I'd probably like dress up as Pee Wee Herman and go. Is it too soon?
No, it's just not fair because Paul Rubens didn't do anything wrong.
I didn't say he did. And neither would Pee Wee Herman. You just go. Not with Pee Wee Herman. I wouldn't be a good Pee Wee Herman. I don't have a small, sharp enough nose.
No, but you can't be making fun of like the worst time in his life.
I could do pretty good though.
I don't like that joke. I disapprove. Pee Wee Herman and Paul Rubens are darling geniuses.
I love him.
He's a national treasure. And
his documentary is one we highly recommend.
I couldn't hear you because I was talking. I'm sorry.
Well, and I was talking over you and I couldn't hear you.
It does seem like it might be kind of fucked up though, because like, I don't know if you've ever known anybody who was in a relationship where they were like forbidden to enjoy porn as entertainment.
Yeah, me. Not
you
this
were?
One. Yeah, in an earlier relationship, I got caught watching porn, and it was
caught.
Yeah, caught.
Is that how it was?
That's how it was framed. And she was like, you're cheating. This is as good as cheating. It was like this whole thing.
Are you serious?
And I was like,
it's not actually.
It's actually not. I mean, what I'm not doing is harassing you right now is what's actually happening. I'm just kind of leaving you out of it.
It's unfortunate because if you're the sort of person who enjoys porn as entertainment, and then like this really cool movie theater that you also enjoy going to for movies starts playing porn, but you happen to be in a relationship with somebody who like forbids it, it's got to be the worst. Can you imagine?
I cannot.
I feel for those dudes. We're like forbidden, can't engage in porn, or their relationship is on the line. It's fucking weird.
Yeah. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk about Iron Lung. Because everyone's talking about this movie.
Oh, it's a movie?
I haven't seen it. But I am going to talk about it because I have some opinions on it. It's made by a YouTuber. Like, this is my dream. Like, this guy's living the dream, but he's got like living it at the highest level. I wouldn't even consider. I don't think it's possible I could be at even remotely close to the level he's playing. But anyway, it's made by a YouTuber, and it did really great numbers and is doing really great numbers, and it's being highly touted because, it's this like highly independent movie, but it's a little bit of a kind of a bullshit thing because he had 38 million followers or 34 million followers or whatever on YouTube, has those as we speak, of course. And so, it's a little bit different, right? Like if I tried to make a movie off of YouTube right now, I have 700 followers, probably about 70 of them are active, maybe 100. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I'm not going to make a movie, You have 38 million. Yeah, it's a little bit of a difference. So we'll talk about it more tomorrow. I want to learn more about it. But I was just looking up box office because I wanted to see the fall off for Melania So Melania did. She fell off by almost 70%.
Oh, who gives a fuck?
Well, the reason why that's important to me, not important to me, but what it does tell a tale. It tells a tale of, and this is interesting because
all these people should be in prison for
Iron Lungs
conspiracy. I really don't understand why we're acting like this is normal. Brett Ratner is in the Epstein files, in photographs, cuddling with young women whose faces are blacked out with Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
And we're all just acting like he gets to be a fucking filmmaker with box office returns.
Is that fucked up?
It's just fucking weird. Like, what are we even fucking doing? She is probably a criminal conspirator. She's the closest to the guy who's been implicated in so many crimes. Like, we couldn't even list them, you know?
Yeah.
I just don't understand why everybody's acting like any of this is normal. I mean, like, if everything completely collapses and falls completely apart and everything becomes chaotic and horrible, it's because we continued to feel like these people get to play normally for too long.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not normal.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't give a fuck about her movie. You guys are playing pretend when you should be in prison. You know? Like, it's just weird.
Feldbaum says, I actually think Blake stepped up after the smear campaign evidence was shown to her. Hanada, I doubt that she would have taken this shitstorm on if not for that. Her hand was forced, I think. And I totally agree. This whole case surrounds the retaliation. The hypocrisy was something they were going to deal with in the rumor milling. And the rumor milling is a common thing in Hollywood, as common as it is in the halls of our high schools, as common as it is if you work at the post office or if you work at the fucking, at the local fucking medical building, wherever you work, there's rumor milling about who's there and about this guy's a dick and that guy's not, and this girl's sleeping with a guy and she's married and all this other stuff. That shit just happens in business and in communities, and that's what would have happened in Hollywood. And there would have been a divide about Justin Baldoni, and he would have had some trouble maybe getting actors because they were on the Blake Lively side of the fence, and there would have been that, but he would have been fine. He would have continued on. He would have worked around it. Eventually, assuming that he was able to not repeat or to support in any way the allegations she was making about him, that it would have all just mended over. It was that he retaliated. They would have had their little fucking, they would have had their little divided ways, Happiness is trying to figure out what your Alan name is.
Because if I go on a rant,
yeah,
I have to be given, it has to be I fully embody my alternative personality, the one that does a rant. She's fully embodied. We are one.
She doesn't fuck around. I can tell you that right now. She don't fuck around.
No, it's true. You guys see the nice version of me. Dale has seen a lot more of that than anybody else, I think. Not directed at you, but I go fucking rant in this house all the time.
Stacey said popcorn for sure. And I think Stacey's talking about bringing popcorn to the Bourne movie, but I'm not sure. I probably would just out of nervousness.
Yes, you gotta have something to do with your hands.
I was asking, did you ever see Diner?
No, I never.
You never
did.
saw the movie Diner?
No.
So you don't know the popcorn scene?
I don't know the popcorn scene.
Who's seen the popcorn scene in Diner? That's what you get at the porn theater. The popcorn scene. I got to show you that movie.
Yes, I would like to see it.
You got to see it. It was an inspiration for Don's Plum, 100%. Definitely one of the movies that inspired us to make that movie. Okay, well, I guess we're going to go. But before we do, I'll just thank you guys for showing up. I'll also thank you for coming aboard the Patreon. We're almost up and running for the daily writing session, and we'll be up and running by Sunday for the astrology.
Mm-hmm.
For Fountainhead Astrology is what it's called. You'll see it. You guys will get notified for those who are on Patreon. If you haven't joined the Patreon, I hope you'll consider doing it. It's only $1 a month, and it's going to support this show. But it's going to go beyond that. Hopefully, we'll grow big enough. And I know, you look at the numbers now, you'll be like, "Come on, Dale, we'll get there. We really will. I'm going to do something. I'm going to twist my nipples. I'll do something." But we're going to get.
That always works.
That always works. And we'll probably, and so hopefully with that kind of, when we do have the numbers, we'll be able to bring some really great things to the show, including, right now we're already in the midst of hiring an editor, which is so fucking cool. And then we're going to, be adding other elements as we go along. The idea is to grow the show and to turn it into a genuine fucking production. Like, I want to produce this thing like I do. You know what I mean? Not just you and me carrying the majority of the work because I know all this technical crap. I want to produce this thing the way I would produce movies, the way I produce anything. And obviously that requires a budget. And so hopefully we can bring enough people on board who want to throw some coins at us and let us make
that
this
sounds
thing.
like it'd be painful.
Throw it right at me. I don't care. I'll fucking go in, get stitches, and then spend the money and make this
No,
thing
it's got to be bills like this,
even better.
up in the air.
But if you don't want to help or support with the Patreon, you just want to support with showing up here and hanging out with us, that is certainly plenty. And we are so grateful that you do. So don't for a minute think that by not supporting us on the Patreon that you're in any way, the ugly stepchild. You're not at all. Love you terribly. And thank you even more so. All right, guys, we'll see you guys tomorrow. I don't know what we're doing yet tomorrow. If you have requests, hit us up if you guys want us to read more of this deposition stuff. What are you supposed to do after you write a script if you're not Nepo? Mm-hmm. Well, if it's finished, if it's finished, the best thing to do now is to enter competitions, especially the Blacklist. But the best thing to do is enter screenwriting competitions now. It's where they're finding the scripts and the new writers. It's the best place to do it. So that's what I would do. I would just, and it's unfortunately it's just a way of costing you money. $20 here, $50 there. Enter this, enter that. So the first thing I would do is I'd make bloody sure that the script can compete. And so one of the ways to do that is to read previous installments, especially screenplays that are relatively similar to your genre. You should read those and look objectively at that and ask yourself, man, am I on par with this? And if you're able to objectively say yes, then you should be entering to those and similar writing competitions. If the answer is no, you have to do what everybody else fucking does, and that's get back to fucking work and keep writing. And that's what this is all about, what I'm doing on the Patreon, dude. It's all about rewriting, and that's what's most exciting for me, because the hardest part of writing is rewriting. The easiest part of writing is writing something bad, because we all suck. We all suck at it, and that's easy. It's easy to suck because it comes naturally. What doesn't come naturally is not sucking. That requires discipline, work. It requires fucking frustration and the ability to overcome those things. And that's what we're going to get into on the Patreon when I launch this thing this week and we start doing Too Real second edition. And by the way, the reason I chose that was because, just real quickly, the reason I chose that is because by doing Too Real, it's already published. And part of the difficulty is trying to bring something that's unpublished. It's you don't want to reveal it necessarily on the one hand, but then the other. So on this, by doing this, I can work with stuff that I already know is out. I don't have to worry about any people leaking anything or whatever. It doesn't fucking matter, or stealing. I don't really care. So that's why I'm working with this. It's going to be super fucking fun. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. You don't. Don't miss it.
All the cool kids are going to be there.
The cool kids are going to be there. Yeah. And they're going to have the latest fashions.
Let's go, bro.
Love you guys. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. You're the best. Bye-bye. Good night.
Good night.